Hello everyone, hello, and welcome to the stream. Radar Vectors with me, Lucas Meaden. I'll be your pilot flying today, and again, welcome aboard. So just the first disclaimer, I'm not a real-world pilot, I'm just a sim pilot, so keep that bit of information in the back of your pocket as we continue along with these streams. As usual, we're flying on Vatsim network today, and guys, as always, this is not going to be an instructional video. However, we are going to try and fly as real ops as possible, and maybe I can teach you something for your home simulators, or maybe you guys can teach me something today, which is always my goal, to try and learn new things about aviation every time I get in the airplane. So, anyway, guys, today here we are in the lovely Air Canada livery. We're right at home there. We'll be flying today from Calgary International down to the west in South San Francisco. So there we have it. We have a flight time of 2 hours, 27 minutes today, and 164 passengers on board. Okay guys, we're ready to fly. Let's go ahead and jump in the cockpit, and we can get this started. It's a rainy day here in Calgary, as we can see. And we are cold and dark as usual. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to turn up the simulator sound. I had that turned down for a minute. Give me just a second while I go to the menus. Alright guys, we've got the desktop audio up a little bit more than last time, so it's good that you guys could hear me last time. I'm comfortable with the level of my voice this time. That's great. So this time we're going to turn up the desktop audio. I know ATC was very quiet, the airplane sound was next to non-existent, and we're going to see if we can't do a little better this time with that. So here we are on the fly pad. There's our information, Calgary to San Francisco, and we're just going to make sure that we have all of our checks. The joysticks set, the throttles are neutral, engine mode is normal, and the engine start switches are off. We do have a little bit of Calgary Center, so let's bring up Volanta and let you guys see what's going on. Here we are in Calgary, and I left this, I didn't do this time. I wanted to show you guys how this works. So I'm going to import from Simbrief because I've already filed on Vatsim. There it is as well, but I'll pull in the one from Simbrief. It's usually a little more accurate, and there it is. It generates my line through. So we've got some air traffic control. Looks like Edmonton Center's online, which is excellent. We're not going to talk to Vancouver Center. We're going to skim right by there, and unfortunately, unless anybody comes along online along the way, we're not going to have any air traffic control until we get into San Francisco. There was also a ground controller over here as well a little bit earlier, it looks like, to offline. So we may be on Unicom for the rest of the way. Hopefully at least Edmonton stays online here and gets us off the ground. So that is Volanta. Sorry, just a couple things there, and I will get rid of that for you. So there we are. Let's go ahead and bring up, make sure the fuel plan is there, and our block fuel today is going to be 10,123 kilograms. So while we do that, let's go ahead and set that up. Doesn't look like, once again, I did set the weight in the pre-flight there. Doesn't look like it figured that out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You guys see about every other stream. I do the same thing every time, I do promise that. I set the weight to about 13 to 14%, maybe up to 20%. Should leave it at about 3,000, a little bit over that kilograms. Again, just to mimic the real life fuel level of a landed aircraft, and then the time it would take to fill it back up to what we need. Unfortunately, it's at about 45–50% already. So to fill it up to 10,000 kilograms from 9,500, it's only going to take us about half a minute. So that's already going. The other thing that I didn't do pre-flight for you guys is self-loading cargo, because there was somebody who was asking about self-loading cargo last time and how it works. So I will bring it over here and show you guys here. So the question was, are there other aircrafts other than the Airbus? So if I were to pull this up, you can see there just about every aircraft in the Airbus family, every aircraft in the Boeing family, and then you get all your other ones here. So they're your ERJs, McDonnell Douglas, your MD11, MD88, some of the older Tupolevs. So I'm not sure what you're looking for. The other thing is you can also, from what I understand, is get familiar with the way the document works to set up these. Like I was mentioned earlier, I have the A320, so for my A320, you have a cabin layout underneath it. So you can pick your aircraft, and if yours isn't in here, you can go default, and you can change around the cabin layout in the default to sort of mimic your aircraft. You can sort of make your own that way. So we have the 320, and my aircraft is the A2nx, a little bit more passengers, as we mentioned before. We're going to have movie screens. We're not going to give them Wi-Fi today. I'm not too sure. I haven't experimented with Wi-Fi too much, so I'm not sure if I click that, if the movies are gone or not. I know this works, and we'll maybe try Wi-Fi next time. But for now, we got movie screens, and if you set up your own sounds, you can download other sound packs for your type. I'm sure there's an Air Canada sound pack. I should try and look for that. Other than that, you can also use some sort of flight recording software and put your own voice in there, so you can make your own cabin announcements. So as you hear throughout the stream, you might hear a few different voices coming from self-floating cargo. If I wanted to get creative, I could put myself as the captain in there, and it would I can cycle, like I can put in quite a few different tracks in there, and it will cycle it around randomly. If I put 2 or 3 different styles of a greeting, each flight it might randomly pick one of those styles. So that's kind of cool. And you also notice that in the default, what the captain says and what the crew says every time isn't exactly the same. We have 152 passengers. That's what that says at the moment, but I know that we have 164 today. So let's go to advanced settings, and then you see there's quite a bit more, and you can import from Simbrief the very same way you can your flight plan in the MCDU. So if I click import from here, there's Calgary to San Francisco, Air Canada 1013. That's going to be our call sign today, and we're cruising flight level 380. So it already figured all of that out. We're good to go, and I'm going to go ahead and start this flight. What do you guys think the chances are that we have a jetway that works today? Let's take a look. Some nice music. Seems very loud for me again. It's hard for me to determine what is really loud for you guys as well. So if we were to just jump outside, we do have a jetway. Looks like we're going to get lucky with the jetway today. That's not the camera I want. That's the camera I want. We've got external power. That's what this truck is here. He's connected, and we do have a connected jetway. So everything looks good today. I know some days we have some issues with that. I'm just going to take self-loading cargo off here in a second. So you can see the doors are open, so that's connected to the jet bridge, which opens the doors in the aircraft for the A320. So I can go ahead and get that started and get them boarding. So as soon as I left click, oh, I have to tell the cabin crew we're ready for board first.
Hi cabin crew, we're ready to get going now, so as soon as you're ready you can open the doors and start letting the passengers on board. Thank you.
No problem.
Alright guys, so now that that's done, we can start boarding the passengers. You can hear a little bit of ambient passenger noise as well in the background, I hope. Alright, so let's go ahead and get set up with our flight. I'm going to just take this away a bit, self-loading cargo, just put it off the screen. We'll go ahead with our flight. So we'll go ahead and get the batteries on, battery 1 and battery 2. And I know that the external power truck's already connected, so we will get the external power as well. Turn on the nav and logo light, let everyone know that we're on board and the passengers are on board. They probably would have appreciated some lights and some air before we got them on, but that's fine. Turn on the no smoke signs, and we will arm the emergency exit lights. Thing here is just lowering the temperature in the back just a little bit. I think they need it quite so hot. 21's about nice. Crew supplies. So this is the masks. There's a problem for any of the in the aircraft. This will supply the cabin crew with breathable air. And turn on ground control is caught voice recorder. Over here, we'll test it. And we will go ahead and test our AP as well. Test the cargo zone. That's all the tests we need, so let's go ahead and align the adheres. Okay, IR1, IR2, and IR3. Then we're just going to say on battery here. On battery. So what we're going to do is grab the frequency for our memory center. That's 135.020, and we will just plug that in. Just to hear him. So we're going to be calling for our clearance very shortly. And we've switched it to active. Just a second here, guys. Alright guys, we're back. As you can see, it's quite a rainy day here out of Calgary.
That's 402, turn left now heading 020 to intercept the localizer. Cleared the ILS approach runway 35 left at Calgary.
Up 020 and cleared ILS 35 left, Jazz 402.
Alrighty, so ATC seems to work, so we're going to go ahead and just continue on here. We know we fit Atlanta.
28
so
Golf Romeo Heavy.
MCD.
Contact Vancouver Center now, please. 133.7. Bye-bye.
So let's call our init data required. And there you have Calgary to San Francisco. Back to the AOC, and we'll get our weights and our balances. Block fuel 10123. That's exactly what we wanted, and that's exactly what we have. So we don't need to touch anything there. And continue over to the weight and balance. We're going to pull this from Simbrief, 164 passengers. The zero fuel rate of 63,318. So that all lines up quite nicely. The payload is, as it says, it also matches 17,056. So we can go ahead and start boarding the aircraft. Again, this is separate from self-loading cargo. They don't speak to each other. We are also loading here, 116 remaining in a moment. So we've got 49 on board, there's 115 remaining. So that's working. We'll go to our init page now and pull the init request from Calgary to San Francisco, and we can double check the cost index is 26 and the cruise temperature is -50. So we can go ahead and just alter the cruise temperature, expected at -50. The travel course of 32,912. It's pretty close, it wasn't very far off. And we'll go to our flight plan. So what we should just do quickly is grab the ATIS here at Calgary. And so what we do have, and I'll show it to you again, guys. We were talking about it last stream, but here we have V-Pilot.
Hamilton
And
Center,
if I double click the
correction,
ATIS.
Edmonton there, Emperor 613, holding short of 35 right.
So we've got information.
Empress 613, contact me airborne. Winds are 300, 16 gusting 23, clear takeoff 35 right.
Clear takeoff 35 right, Emperor 613.
So the information we have here is information November. As he mentioned just there, the wind 300 16, gusting 23. As we continue along, the temperature is 4 degrees Celsius. Altimeter 2946, so that's very low, the altimeter. We have ILS or RNAV, visual 35 right and 35 left. Departure is runway 35 right and 35 left as well. So we won't plan, let's see, so where we are. So that's a good idea to plan where we are as well. And we'll pick one and it won't be a big problem if afterwards he changes it on us. So here's Navigraph. We'll go ahead and get rid of vPilot. So where we are is over here, and here's 3.5 right, and here's 3.5 left. So I'm going to hope he gives us 3.5 left. It's just going to be a little bit of a more straight down Gulf, all the way down Charlie. It's going to be a nice long taxi, and then off the 3.5 left. So that's what we'll assume. So departure from 3.5 left. And again, I'm not too sure which departure we're on, but I'm going to go ahead and assume it's off the Calgary 7 departure. And we are going to transition through just a second. Here's the Calgary 7. And here's our flight plan. 3.5 right, F380, so that's an airway.
Jazz 402, winds are
I won't put in a
300,
transition.
16 gusting 23, cleared to land, 3.5 left.
Because Satov
Red
is our
line, 3.5
first
Jazz
waypoint.
402.
And I don't see Satov on the chart. I see Sexel. So Satov is to the south of the runway, so he's going to have to vector us around. So we'll probably get radar vectors to Pevlu or Sexel. However, if we read a chart, runway 35 left is climb heading 345. And climb and maintain 7,000. So as long as we've got that,
We're ready to go up here, so once everyone's on board, please feel free to close the doors and we can get going.
they'll get us on board.
Center, Empress 613 through 5,000.
Okay, great. We're almost done.
So there we've got in our manual, runway 35 left, heading course of
Empress
345.
613, Edmonton Radio, you're identified at 6,500
Edmonton
feet.
Radio
You can
is what he
turn
likes
right
to call it,
direct
so let's take
Lomlo
note of
on
that.
course. Climb flight level 210.
Right direct Lamo and climb level 210, Empress 613.
Direct Lomlo at 6,500.
So what we'll do now, guys, is just make sure the rest
Sorry,
of
say again
our
for Empress 613?
flight plan looks proper.
Turn to Lomlo, passing noise abatement at 6,500.
Okay, after noise, direct Lamo, Empress 653.
Noise abatement, so that's another thing we're going to talk about today. Says something about noise abatement, which I didn't read yet. I figured I'd read it on the stream. So after we have our departure, we'll get vectors. Radar vectors. So there's Satov, which is south of the runway, and I can zoom this out just a little bit for you guys to see what I'm going off. So we'll depart 35 left, and we'll get vectors to Satov, and then Ropla. If we go back down here, about 10 miles, we can see all of them nicely. Ropla, then the Q90 to Q890 to Ropla there, and then direct Yumi. We have Ropla, Yumi, and then direct Ordi, direct Milo, and then we have the Bodega 3 arrival. So we won't put that in yet, as we don't have an ATIS out of San Francisco just yet. Hopefully we'll get some ATC online there. Otherwise, we'll have to do it all by the seat of our pants. So that's done. So let's go to our secondary flight plan, which is not modeled yet, the RadNav. That's the ILS frequency that we're going to depart off of. In case we have a problem, we can turn around and come back and use that. So we're not going to touch that at the moment. Next is the INT-B page. We know we have our fuel on board, so that's 10,120 kilograms. Let's go 10.1. That's our block fuel. And then we'll pull the zero fuel weight CG from the sim. And our headwind today is going to be, our wind today is actually, it is a headwind. It's a headwind of 19. Headwind of 19 knots. So just a little bit of setup, guys, to get the aircraft off the ground before we get going. This is things you got to do. So we have quite a bit of taxi, so I'm going to make this a little bit longer. It's double that taxi expected out. Might have a bit of a long way to go. And our alternate today says 1.1, in there's 0.6. So again, it's about double. We remember last time, even though we put in what Simbrief said, it didn't accurately catch the total fuel for that. We'll try it again. Something I did notice, and we're going to talk a little bit about World Update 6 that we're flying in right now, a little bit later once we get into the air. Sim Update 6, pardon me. And one of the things that I was reading in the notes that they did identify that there seemed to be an issue with the fuel burn readings in the prediction page. So that's good news. It seems that they've identified there's a problem with this. Because again, this comes from Sobo.
402 looking for parking at 7 Alpha.
It comes from Sobo, not from Fly-by-Wire. So there's the NAB page, and let's go get our...
Jazz 402, taxi Charlie, Hotel Bravo, cross runway 29.
Charlie Hotel Bravo, cross 294, Jazz 402.
So guys, we're going to go ahead and call here for clearance. See how that goes. Edmonton radar, good afternoon. Air Canada 1013 on ground in Calgary, gate 33, ready to copy IFR to San Francisco with November. I'm hoping that worked.
Air Canada 1013, Edmonton radio, stand by. Empress 613, climb flight level.
Okay, guys, so he told us to stand by, so we're just going to wait for him.
Air Canada 1013, a minor amendment to your clearance. Are you ready to copy?
We're ready to copy, Canada 1013.
Canada 1013, cleared to the San Francisco airport. On the Banff 2 departure, the radar vectors to Dumra, that's Delta Uniform Mike Romeo Alpha, Dumra, then Satov and on course, departing runway 35 left and squawking 0311.
All right, amendment to the departure here on the Banff 2 departure, cleared to San Francisco via radar vectors to Dumra, then Satov, then on course. Runway 35 left, and we're going to squawk 0371 Air Canada 1013. 0311 Air Canada 1013.
Canada 1013, your readback is correct. This change is just to conform to the exit points in the jet non-jet SIDS out of Calgary. You'll see them when you look at the plate. Your readback is correct. The information is November. You can push and start at your discretion and call for taxi.
We'll take a look at the new plates. We'll call for taxi. Air Canada 1013, thank you. Alright guys, that was very nicely informed by him. Appreciate the reasoning for why. So we do have to make just a few changes. It's not really too much of an issue at all. So what he's got us, we filed the Calgary 7 departure, and he wants us to file the Banff 2 departure. So that's fine. Might be a little bit different here. So let's just see. Runway 35 left is still what we were given. Climb heading 345 and 7,000. So it's still the same. The only thing it says is do not just reading here. Climb heading 345 is assigned, so he did give us runway heading. Well, he didn't give us a sign, so it's going to be climb runway or climb heading 345. And we're not to turn to the left below 6,500 feet is what this is saying. We do have vectors to Dumra.
Air Canada 279 Edmonton.
So we can see Dumra here, down to the left. So we're going to take off and make a left turn to Dumra. So that's going to be our departure. So let's go ahead and pull this back in. So our flight plan is going to be departure of 35 left. So now we can go ahead and do this a little bit again. 35 left. On the bank,
Air Canada 279, Edmonton Radio.
Dumra. We'll insert that.
Canada 279, when ready, descend to 12,000, 2000. The White Horse. Altimeter is 2916.
So we've got Calgary VOR in here. We don't want that, so I'm going to get rid of Calgary. So radar direct Dumra. Radar vectors to Dumra. It's going to be takeoff, fly the manual, and there's Dumra right before SATO. Just conform to keep us in a little tighter. So okay, that's all sorted. We do have to go back to the performance page, as this is going to be a little bit... oh, actually, it's going to be exactly the same because we haven't changed the runway. So our V-speeds are a little high today. We've got quite a lot of passengers on board, and we're quite heavy, 73,400 pounds. Takeoff weight's supposed to be about 73,200, so maybe a little less than that, so we should lose a little bit of the taxi, but it's still going to be quite a heavy takeoff. If we look at the runway length, 35 left, we can see that it's nice and long, 12,675 feet, more than enough for a flaps 1 takeoff. So what we can go ahead, guys, and do is something again I meant to do a little earlier, get the baggage and the catering on board. It's probably people want to see their luggage getting on board. Now that we see we've got drinks in the back and bags in the bottom, we'll go ahead and start the APU because we want to get rolling out of here sooner than later. And 3 seconds wait, and we start the starter. Let's go ahead and put in that Scott code he gave us, 0311. Oh, we already did that. Good for me. But what we can do is come here and turn on some lights. So guys, a couple things. The FlyLive Studio Bar, I hope it's working. I've said that I don't know how many times, but I do hope it's working. We've made some changes, we've got some tips, and it's going to be hard to see if it's working until we do get in the air, but I hope it doesn't freeze. It does have us at 3,567 feet, so if we just look at the elevation, 3,542, so that's pretty close, bang on. I'm actually quite impressed with that. So let's hope that that's working and that remains working as we move around. Boarding's complete, so we're going to close the doors. We can go ahead and get rid of the jetway.
Hi, Captain. All passengers are on board and doors have been closed.
97,000 feet. And it will be vector departure, but we'll leave it in manual heading mode as it will grab the manual. I'll leave it in managed heading mode as it will grab the manual vector off of departure. Probably be hand flying anyway, heading 345, so that's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome aboard the aircraft. My name is Steve. I'm your pilot today, along with First Officer David and your senior flight attendant Alana. She, with the rest of the crew, will be making our way around the cabin, making sure you're comfortable. We're not anticipating any delays, so we should be arriving on time at our destination. The guys on the ground have just told us they've finished loading the final bits of luggage into the aircraft, so we should be on our way very shortly. We are, however, waiting to receive clearance to push it back and start before we taxi to the runway. If you could help the cabin crew by getting yourself sat comfortable with the seatbelts fastened, that would be fantastic. Once airborne, we'll be starting
Alright guys, there's the captain of the aircraft, or the co-pilot rather, because I'm the captain today. Giving a little brief, little address to cabin. So it's again another nice part of self-loading cargo, which I do enjoy quite a bit. So we put in the QNH 2946. It's quite low here in Calgary today, and we put in the altitude 7,000. What we're going to do is turn on the beacon lights because we want to get underway here very shortly. And we're going to double check on baggage and the catering, see if that's done. It is done. So the only thing left is the external power. Let's go back up here. APU is ready, so we'll start the APU bleed. You can hear the air starts flowing a little bit, so we'll turn off the external power. Once the external power is off, we can tell the truck to disconnect and to have a nice day. And then we will connect the tug. So what we'll do this time, which we forgot to do last time, we were bad boy, but we will test the engine fire. Engine 1 and engine 2, and then we will start the fuel pumps. So there's no white lights now on the upper panel. We're ready for push and start. We have push and start at our discretion, call for taxi, so now we have to do a push briefing. So we'll bring back the charts one more time. We know that we're over here, so we're going to be facing nose to south, which is also nose to the left. We're going to probably taxi via Golf, Juliet, Charlie. So what we can do is just pop outside really quick. And we can see there, we want to taxi nose to the left. Excellent news, so that's our push briefing. We know upper controls are no white lights. We're ready for push and start. So let's go ahead, disconnect the parking brake, and get the show underway. Back we go. We turn the engine mode to start, and start engine 2. We're going to look for N2 pressure rising, and the EGT exhaust gas temperature very low today. Start rising 5 degrees. So the engine's starting. That's good to know. Take a look outside. Try to capture our turn line, which is coming up very quickly. So let's actually go ahead and turn the aircraft right now. Cabin crew, on the doors.
Cabin crew, please arm doors.
Alright guys, until we get good software, we want to make sure that we don't taxi too far or taxi into the terminal. Bit of a steep turn. We'll make it.
Air Canada 279, Edmonton Radio. Air 279, proceed from your present position to IMESA, that's India, Mike India, Sierra Alpha.
Okay.
That is the intermediate approach fix for the
Start engine
Zulu
1.
approach, 14 right, Whitehorse.
Light rafts are located below your seats and emergency lighting will lead you to your closest exit in flight. We ask that you make sure that all carry-on luggage is stowed away safely during the flight. While we wait for takeoff, please take a moment to review the safety data card in the seat pocket in front of you. Thank you for your attention. We hope you enjoy the flight.
Hey guys, that was the safety briefing. It's not very good, really, in my opinion. It seems a little bit too muffled for me, a little bit too rushed.
Edmonton Radio,
Hard to
good
understand what they're
day.
talking
Air
about.
Canada 452 at Calgary, gate 95, requesting IFR clearance to Vancouver. We have information to Oscar.
Hey Noah, how's it going? Howdy bud. Thanks for showing up. So you have a couple others watching, so thank you everyone else for showing up. Just got back from a walk with the doggos.
Edmonton Radio, stand by a moment, please.
The doggos, you gotta walk them, man. There's just some crazy little buggers you got there. I know I saw that video you sent me, and gotta keep them occupied, that's for sure. So thanks for coming to the stream, and let's get off the ground here in Calgary. We've got some ATC, we've set up the aircraft. The engines are
Canada
started.
452 cleared the Vancouver airport.
We just gotta get our
Stampede
taxi
9 departure. Plan
taxi
route.
clearance, and we have to get out of
Departing
here.
runway 35 right, squawking 0145.
Cleared the Stampede 9 departure, follow as planned, of runway 35 right, squawk 0145.
Canada 452, readback is correct. Current information is Oscar. Push and start your discretion. Call for taxi.
Wilco, Air Canada 452.
Alright guys, so we've turned on mode Charlie. We've set the TCAS to TAR, right? Reset the radar trim.
Air Canada 111.
Turned on predicted wind shear.
Vancouver.
Radar is still in op, unfortunately. Hopefully, that's something fly-by-wire is working on, but for now there's no radar, so we'll do our best without it. The engine mode was zeroed, or the engine mode was set to norm rather, and I mentioned the radar trim was zeroed. So what we'll do now is set our takeoff center.
Canada 111, Edmonton Radio. Need to make some adjustments to your flight plan. Westbound flights require an even flight level. Did you want to choose 200 or 220? Both of those are much lower than the usual filed altitudes for an Airbus, but it's your choice as long as it's even.
V220, Air Canada 111.
And Air Canada 111, you've chosen the non-jet routings to leave the Calgary TCA. We don't have to change it today, but you should look at the jet versions, usually the Banff 2 if you're using the parallels, and choose a waypoint as your first waypoint when you're choosing your flight plans. You're ready for your clearance now.
Alright guys, we're just cycling through all of the ECAM pages here.
Ready for clearance, Air Canada 111.
We see we have the doors closed and armed.
Air Canada 111 cleared to Vancouver Airport.
Brake temperature is 0 degrees.
On the
Auto brake max. We've set flaps 1.
Rodeo
ground
2,
spoilers.
well, let's use the jet version.
Do a
The
flight
Banff
control
2
check.
departure.
Full down.
Flight planned route departing 35 left
That was full up, sorry.
and
Full up,
squawking
full down.
1001.
Left. Full right.
Clear to Vancouver.
Full left rudder.
Jet Banff 2 departure.
Full right rudder.
Flight plan en route.
That's our flight control check.
Runway
We're ready to go.
35 left, squawk 1001, Air Canada 111.
Canada 111, your readback is correct. Current information is Oscar. Push and start your discretion. Call for taxi.
Alright guys, so we're going to be going runway 35 left, ready for taxi. We'll just do a quick taxi brief. I know we did a little one before, but let's just double check here. So we'll check out what we think he's going to do. He's probably going to give us taxi to Golf, and then Juliet, Charlie. So we'll come down this way, across, unless he takes us Golf right across down onto Charlie. We're going to cross runway 29 on Charlie, cross runway 26, and then line up 35 left on Charlie. So that's what's going to most likely happen, one of these two options, so we'll give him a call. ATIS is still November. Edmonton radar, Air Canada 1013. We're ready to taxi 35 left with November.
Canada 1013, it is now Oscar, altimeter is 2946. Taxiing for 35 left, putting your discretion to Gulf, then continue south on Charlie and hold short 35 left, cross runway 29.
Alright, we'll get Oscar, altimeter 2946, taxi our discretion Golf, all the way down to Charlie, cross runway 29, and hold short 35 left, Canada 1013. And can you confirm cross or hold short 26, Air Canada 1013?
I forgot all about 26. Yes, you can cross both 29 and 26, sorry.
We'll cross 26 as well. That's great. Thank you so much, Air Canada 1013. Alright guys, there's our taxi clearance. So we got Golf directly down Charlie, and he said information Oscar is now current. So let's just pull that up here just one more time so you can see. I didn't even look.
Air Canada 279, descend 8,000.
Altimeter 2946. Winds 310 at 14, gust 19. So that's well within takeoff parameters. Takeoff minima. 2946. Philip, hey Philip, how's it going? Yes, I don't know if it's actually snowing there, if the sim can model that at the moment. It says it's only about 4 degrees Celsius, so I don't think there's any snow out there, but this rain is really crappy. You're absolutely right. Philip, thanks for showing up to the stream. It's always nice to see you, Noah. Both you guys always my biggest fans. Anyway, so we're almost ready to go here. We have our taxi clearance. Let's turn on the taxi light. Release the parking brake, and we'll get going. So another way, guys, if you can't see anything like this, another way to kind of cheat is to bring up the VFR map. I'm trying to, so maybe that's not bound anymore. Oh, there it is. And this doesn't have the letters on it, but if you use that in conjunction with Navigraph or any of your other free charts, and you still get some situational awareness of where you are and what taxiways he wants you on, this will sort of show you where you are in your aircraft.
Air Canada 452, ready for taxi.
In relation to the airport, the other way I'd use it, if there's no signs around, which there aren't, is the way that I showed before in the aircraft, which is, you can see, it's very similar to the in-game chart, the in-game map. And now I've lost my line. It's okay. I don't know if that line's going to take me to Gulf or not. So
Second
probably
for
not going to follow
35
it.
right, straight ahead through Bravo Charlie, turn right in Bravo.
I can see the other end of the line right there. So we're going to aim for that.
Clear taxi at 35 right, you get Bravo Charlie Bravo, hold 35 right. Air Canada 452.
So we're going to take Golf, guys, all the way down, cross 29 onto Charlie, so we can get rid of Navigraph. How's the audio, guys? Can you hear self-loading cargo today? Can you hear ATC a little better? Can you hear me at all? Alright guys, so something we're going to have to keep in mind today
Empress 613, heavy, Edmonton.
is that we're going to need our anti-ice, engine ice 1 and engine
Empress
ice 2 on
613,
for this
Winnipeg's not
departure.
online, I'm afraid. So as you leave the region, your service terminates. Commander Yukon now 22-8. Thanks very much.
Over to 22-8, Empress 613, and sorry I didn't spot you online when I pushed back there.
Oh, no worries at all.
Have a great one.
So guys, because temperature's under 10 degrees, Phil 5x5, thanks so much, awesome. So because the temperature's under 10 degrees Celsius, and because it's going to be a wet and degraded runway, SOP is to start your engine anti-ice. As we get up into the clouds, we may turn on the wing anti-ice as well. We could do that now, but if if we get a nice warning, turn it
Air
on.
Canada 279 cleared the Arnab Zulu runway 1 for right approach at Whitehorse. Altitude is your discretion, but high ground in that area, so don't go down too soon. Call me established on final.
I must say, I think this is one of the best controllers out there. I've had him before. He's just very calm and smooth on the network, and the way he explains things. And I didn't come here because I knew he was online. I didn't know it was him at all until I first heard him. I've flown with him a few times before, and probably one of my favorite controllers to have on the network. But anyway, so we've got engine ice, engine 1 and engine 2 on, and we'll leave those on until we get through the cloud layer. Depending on what temperatures in San Francisco, I'm pretty sure it's probably not 4 degrees and raining, as it is here in Calgary. However, if it is, we'll turn the engine ice back on. But like I said, it'll probably be a nice warm day there. And I haven't looked at any ATIS, any weather. It's poor flight plan captaining on my part. It's okay. We'll get an ATIS there shortly once we get into the air. Guys, so I'll ping the cabin inside the aircraft. Let's get that out of the way.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Satisfy the ECAM, and we'll do the ECAM test. So there we have upper ECAM, takeoff no blue. So we are ready to go, just to get the lights and the packs. So here we are, we're coming up runway 29. We've been cleared across runway 29. Clear on the right. I guess it's clear on the left. Hard to see. So another thing that Sim Update 6 has brought to us apparently is a fix of other aircraft, external aircraft lighting on other airplanes. So that's great. We had it before. Sim Update 5 broke that, I think. World Update 6 didn't fix it. And now that we're finally here with Sim Update 6, I know that gets confusing between the world and the sim and the world and the sim. But here we are with Sim Update 6, and a few people that have flown on the network and have told me aircraft lighting seems to be working. So that's great. No more will I get told by air traffic control to watch out for aircraft in a certain direction, and then I have no idea where they are because I can't see any lighting. Now this is a bad test because of the low clouds, all the rain around. It's hard to really see anything more than about 400 or 500 feet right in front of me. I'm glad we're not landing here in Calgary. That was the initial thought. As Philip says, this weather's not really good landing weather, so much better takeoff weather. As you can see, guys, we're getting close to the runway, the end of the runway that we want, but it is quite a long taxi here, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So we still got quite a bit of ways to go until we even get to runway 26. We're going to cross that, and then it's just a short little hop around 15 left. So it's a good thing we brought lots of fuel on board, and we told the flight management computer that we're going to need quite a bit more taxi down here. So if we take a look at what we've got already, whoopsie, 73200. So this is what it expected us to, what Simbrief originally expected us to be at, which meant it would be 0.2 taxi. So 0.4, which is what we doubled to, is another 200. So if we're about halfway through the taxi, it's a pretty good guess. Pretty bang on. I could put it to 0.5. It's not going to be a big deal. 100 kilograms of fuel is drop in the bucket. Still have 9,900 to go. So guys, again, thanks everyone for coming along. It's going to be a long flight, 2 hours and 18 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes or so.
WestJet like 135.
We'll take a break somewhere in the
Edmonton.
middle, and hopefully we get some ATC as we leave Edmonton. Right now, we don't have anything sort of after Edmonton Center down into the United States.
WestJet 135, what runway were you planning?
But it's still early, out in the West Coast.
Roger, stand by for a clearance.
So hopefully by the time we get there, somebody comes online. As we're coming up on runway 26, I haven't heard anybody on frequency clear to land or clear for takeoff, so that's good news. I don't have to really worry about anyone around me. Maybe he's forgot where I am, forgot what's going on. Controllers are better than that anyway. So clear on the left, clear on the right. We're going to cross runway 26. That was premature. This is Charlie 3. So we're going to cross Charlie 3. And it looks like we do have some runway signs slowly creeping up. That was Charlie 3 right there. I didn't look at it. Sorry. And this is, there you have it. We're on golf. We're not on golf. See, they're all over the place. That should say Charlie, runway 26.
Calgary
Clear on the
Center,
left.
Air Canada 111.
Clear on the right. We're going to keep crossing.
Canada 111, taxiing for 35 left. Taxi the apron, your discretion to Hotel Bravo, straight down Charlie. Hold short 35 left, cross 29 and 26.
Cross which one? Air Canada 111?
You cross 2 runways on your way south there on Charlie, 29 and 26. You're cleared to cross them both.
Runway 35 left, taxi via Hotel Bravo, Charlie, hold short of 35 left, cross 39 and 26, Air Canada 111.
Southwest 450 is registered.
Aircraft calling radio. Just have an issue I have to deal with up north. I'm going to be distracted for a few minutes. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
All right, no problem.
I'm not sure what that means. He said he had an issue he's going to be dealing with up north. Maybe that means up north on his radar
Canada
screen?
452, holding short 35 right, ready at your discretion.
Air Canada 452, thanks.
Alright guys, we're approaching 35 left, so that's the hold stop. Hold short bar.
Canada 279, winds in Whitehorse are 1909 knots, clear to land 14, right?
Not sure if he wants me to call him. Tell him we're here. But we're ready to go. So let me just
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff, please.
get the lights prepped. I don't want to turn on the landing lights or the takeoff lights. Rule of thumb by that is, in case someone is landing, they're on final, you don't really want to distract them as they're on final. You don't want to disrupt their sort of attention as they're coming on to land. So you wait for them to pass by, and when I get cleared to go on, I would flip all those on. So I'm going to give him a call if he doesn't call me here any second. Limited radar, Air Canada 1013, holding short 35 left. We're ready to go. Oscar.
Air Canada 1013, stand by please. I just have to deal with north. It's slow to unravel here.
Alright, we'll hold short 35 left. Canada 1013, no problem. Alright guys, he's just obviously taking care of something still. So, we can just double check that we're good to go.
LR 3436, you're on frequency with Edmonton.
Everything looks good, guys. We just got to get the packs off and get the lights on once we get clearance to line up on the runway. Turn the strobe light on right now, so don't forget it. I may have pinged the cabin a little early there. Thought he was going to clear us a little faster than this, but that's okay. So some of the joys of flying on the Vatsim network, you get real live people, and with that come real life problems. So whatever it is that he's dealing with, obviously, break that thought, guys. There's our first indication that lights are working. So that's great news. That's another aircraft on the
Eleanor
Vatsim network.
3436, your limit on the SID departure is 4,000 feet. Continue your eastbound heading, climb to flight level 230.
So we can see the left wing, the right wing, the strobe lights, and his forward lights. So that's great, guys. That's been broken for quite a time, 2 or 3 months, and it's wonderful to have that back. So that makes identifying other aircraft much easier. Now, on the bright side of sitting here, it looks like the weather is slowly starting to clear up. I have a little bit more visibility than I did when we started sitting here. It was even hard to see the top of this hill past these hangars here, but now I can see quite a bit more. The rain's moving away, and you can see on the windshield the rain is almost all but gone. I'd turn on the wipers. You guys are asking me where the wipers are. The problem is they're not really modeled in the A320. So we see there's a droplet, a couple of droplets, and that doesn't do anything, just makes an awful rocket. It's not going to do anything. I'm quite happy to shut it out. So guys,
Alright, thank you all for your patience. Air Canada 452, the plan for you is to fly the runway heading, to give me a call in the air. The winds are 310 at 14, gusting 19. So you're clear takeoff runway 35 right.
Clear runway 35 right. We'll contact once near Air Canada 452. We'll fly heading. Runway heading.
okay, guys, I'm sure he's going to call us next.
Air Canada 1013.
There we go.
Your clearance is the same, runway heading, contacting me in the air. Not above 7,000 feet. Winds are 310, 14, gusting 19. Clear takeoff on runway 35 left.
Alright, winds 310 at 15, gusting 19. We're clear for takeoff 35 left, fly runway heading, top altitude 7,000. We have Oscar, Air Canada 1013. Alright guys, so we got clearance for takeoff, so let's go ahead and
Stop with
Air Canada 279, thanks very much. Taxi your discretion.
get all the lights on. Disengage the parking brake, and we'll go ahead and taxi out onto the runway. We'll do a rolling takeoff.
WestJet 135, thanks very much for your patience.
Turn off the packs now.
You are cleared to the Kelowna Airport on the flight planned route, departing on runway 08 and squawking 0550.
Quite gloomy out, quite gray still. Hopefully we get out of this weather,
Air
guys.
Canada
So,
452,
135
airborne
left.
passing 4800.
He's already at 4,000 feet. Great news. So we're going to go ahead and
Canada
start the chrono.
252, Edmonton Radio, you're identified.
Thrust 50%.
Climb flight level 210 on the
Side
runway
kick
heading.
down when the engines are
Confirm those
stabilized.
for Air Canada 452,
And toga
flight
thrust.
210 on the runway
Alright
heading.
guys, let's go to San Francisco.
Air Canada 452, maintain the runway heading, climb to flight level 210.
Climb 210.
80 knots.
maintain
We're going to bring the
runway
side
heading,
stick
Air
back to
Canada
neutral.
452.
100.
100 call out. It's quite windy down here on the ground still. And here's the V1. And
West at 135, your readback was correct. The altimeter is 2963. You can monitor Unicom now 228 for your departure.
Positive red, gear up.
No traffic for you to be aware of. You can proceed as filed and climb 10,000 feet. Give me a call.
Alright guys, we're hand flying the aircraft. We're following the flight directors. We're maintaining runway heading 345. Disarm the ground spoilers. Turn off the runway lights, the takeoff lights. And we'll turn on pack 1. And we'll wait 10 seconds. We're going to get lever climb in unit.
Southwest 8413 calling.
So we'll reduce the climb thrust.
Yes, sir. I believe we are getting
And we'll lower the nose. Following the flight directors. I forgot to
That
report
is
airborne,
affirmative. I'm
so
just
we'll do
dealing
that
with
now.
some airplanes in the air. I'll get right back to you.
Turn on pack 2.
Well, thank you. Please tell him I've sent him a flight plan. Please verify the booking. Thank you.
Edmonton radar, Air Canada 1013, 5,700 for 7,000.
Air Canada 1013, Edmonton radio, you're identified. Stop your climb at 7,000. And
2,500.
turn left now heading 260.
Stop climb 7,000, turn left 260, Air Canada 1013. Alright guys, we'll pull heading mode and we'll
Canada
left
45.
turn.
Air Canada 452, turn left direct bow tag and on course.
Oops, wrong button there guys.
Turn left direct bow tag and on course, or Canada
Left headed
452.
210. So it clicked because it dropped us into open climb.
Air Canada 111 holding for
er, No, it dropped us off of the what am I trying to say here?
Air Canada
It beeped at us and
111,
indicated
flight runway heading.
autopilot
Call me
change
airborne.
because I switched
Winds
it to
are
manual heading,
14 gusting 19.
and it was
clear
on
takeoff,
managed
35
climb.
left.
So when I switched it to
Live runway heading, I'll call you airborne.
heading mode,
Clear
it should
takeoff,
be
35
210.
Canada
Sorry,
111.
doing 2 things at once.
Radio,
It became open climb. In the time that happened, it captured 7,000, which is where he told us to stop climb. So we're at Alt Star. So it's
At
holding
138, you're number 2
7,210.
for clearance. Stand by, please.
We have to
Air
maintain.
Canada 1013, continue ER left turn direct to Dumrun on course, climb 210.
Continue our left turn, direct Dumra on course, climb 210, Air Canada 1013. So now we can climb to 210, flight level 210. Pull, open climb, just open climb, 210 blue, and then we'll get direct Dumra. So there's direct Dumra, so now we're back in managed heading mode. And we can put it back into managed climb. So that's briefly to what I was trying to mention what happened there, in the midst of also listening to what he was saying and trying to fly the aircraft as well. So we flipped over to autopilot somewhere in there when he gave us a heading. And so originally when I turned on autopilot, is it managed heading?
Good night. Thanks very
It was
much for
managed
flying.
climb.
See you again.
And then because I pulled into heading mode, managed no longer knew where to take it, even though it's heading, even though it's altitude, it could not, in its mind, figure out what the managed plan was. Didn't know where it was going, so it did move to open climb.
Southwest 8413, Edmonton radio.
So here's 9,000, almost
Are
10,000.
you ready for your clearance?
We can go ahead and turn off the chrono there.
Ready for the clearance.
We also brought the flaps up.
Southwest 8413,
So there's
you've
10,000.
chosen
So let's
a
go ahead and
non-jet
turn off the
routing out of
lights.
the Calgary area. You should have a look at the Banff 2 SIDS for your next flight
And guys,
out of Calgary. We'll
still
leave
got
the
the
routing
engine lights
as it
on.
is for today.
If you look,
You're
we're still in the
cleared on
clouds. It hasn't been much to look
Banff
at.
2 departure. Flight planned route, departing runway 35 left and squawking 0105.
So that's really nice, guys. What we're seeing there is 2 other aircraft in the air, and we can see their lights. So that's what we've been talking about a couple times, just to prove that it works. At least now I'll have visual on other aircraft. But yep, can't really see a thing out here.
Well, it will take me a few minutes to do that. I have a number of airplanes I have to manage. You can go with the flight plan you have. It's up to you whether you want to wait.
No, I don't mind 5 minutes.
So when we pass 10,000 feet, guys, self-loading
All right,
cargo.
well, you're very patient. Did you get your flight plan at Simbrief?
Self-loading cargo. Flipped
Yes,
off
I
the seatbelt, and then I turned off the lights.
All right, well,
10,000
look
feet is the
at the
fancy
chart
altitude.
for the BAMF to departure, and any of the appropriate waypoints that you see at the edge of the terminal control area, that's the routing you want from Simbrief.
All right, thank you. We check. I'll get back.
So that's a little bit of good information there that ATC is providing. If you're listening into what he was saying.
And Jazz 138, I think you're the last one in the queue here. Let me have a quick look at your flight plan.
Jake, what's up? Prop strike. Mike's a tad low. Sounds like you're talking in slow motion. No, I'm not sure if I'm talking in slow motion because of the mic or if I'm just trying to concentrate on 3 or 4 or 5 different things at the same time. Jake, what's up? I'm doing well. We're doing a little flight over from San Francisco. Over to San Francisco, rather. How's the
Same issue for
FlyLive
you.
bar going?
The departures from Calgary are
Does it seem to be
separated by
working?
jet versus non-jet.
Altitude?
You have to
No.
have
No,
chosen
it
the
doesn't.
non-jet
Well, that's a
flavor.
shame. I'll give it one more kick in the pants.
We can leave it for today, and next time you can have a look at the BAMF 2 departure, which is the jet version that you're looking for, and just choose a routing that has the appropriate waypoint in it.
Actually, I'll have a look at that. Is that a new change? Or?
No,
Just a
it's
second,
been like
guys.
this
Here, I'm
forever.
just trying to fix
Alright,
the FlyLive studio bar, as I always have to do on stream. I thought I had somebody
we
give
can
me
leave it
some
for
good
today,
advice.
I'll give you your clearance in 1 moment. Break. Air Canada 452, climb flight level 340.
Climb flight level 340, Canada 452.
Air Canada 1013, climb flight level 380.
Climb flight level 380, Air Canada 1013.
Edmonton Center, Air Canada 111, I'm 7,000 feet.
Alright, guys, I tried to reset the bar there. I'll do it
111,
one time.
You're identified, climb up to
I'll do it one time in this flight.
you can turn left direct to Rafma and on course.
If that doesn't work, if it stops working again, I'm sorry.
Level 220, turn left to Roughmire.
I'm gonna look into some other some other programs similar to FlyLive Studios, some other bars that sort of do the same thing. Not sure what's going on with that one. It's not working, so it looks like it works a little bit for now. Somebody was basically saying that, in a nutshell, when I did get the FlyLive bar, I used the default template that it did, and I just changed it to my.
Cleared to Edmonton, the BAMF 2 departure.
I just changed it to settings that I wanted it to.
35 left.
However, they were recommending that I make a new profile or start from scratch. So I did that. I changed it a little bit. Tried to keep it looking more or less the same. But it looks like it already froze there once. It's working at the moment, so we'll leave that going and hope for the best, as always. So we've passed 18,000 feet. We've pulled standard altimeter, and we'll push it here. What we'll do over here, guys, is start the movie.
Southwest 8413, information popping out, Calgary.
It's only at 65%, so let's try and go ahead and get that up on this flight.
I'll just use another flight plan. Could you look and put it okay?
Did you upload the new flight plan?
Yes, I just sent it to you now.
So what we'll do is do an after takeoff checklist. It's been a little late. We're 20,000 feet, but that's fine. The gear's up. I did one sort of while he was talking, without sort of saying it to you guys. So we'll try and get a few words in here. I know that soon we'll be on Unicom. We won't have any ATC, and then you guys will get sick of listening to just me. We're still in the clouds, so the engine ice is still on. The gear's up. The flaps have been retracted. Both of the packs have been turned on. The lights are off. Seatbelt signs are off. And we've set standard above 18,000.
You're looking for a routing that has bow tag as the first waypoint. Is that what you found?
So all looks good, guys, on the departure.
Just, I appreciate your busy. Could you just send me the route?
We've got about 850 miles to go left on this flight. So it's lots of time for us to have a chat about Sim Update 6. Lots of time for us to take a quick break.
Look something up for you. Just give me a minute or two.
And then pull our arrival information into San Francisco. So guys,
At 135, Edmonton Radio, you are identified. You climb up to flight level 320 and proceed on course.
So guys, we're still in the clouds here, flight level 240. Hoping that we get over it soon. If we look back at our Tropopore, it says the top of most of all of the weather is about 33,000 feet. Level 330 or a little higher. Well, it should be at 380, which we should actually check. Again, I recommend a max 376, so 38 is a little high. I think we'll be okay. We'll keep an eye on our speed indicator. When we're above the recommended max, we won't be very far above it, but we won't deviate from the managed speed. We won't increase to Mach 7.9 or 8, 8.1. We'll stay right there at Mach 0.78, which is what it'll be when we get up to cruise. And that way we won't overspeed or underspeed. It'll be a short window when we're outside of our optimal.
3436, you're descending into uncontrolled airspace. So your service terminates for today. You can monitor Unicom now, 22.8. Bye for now.
So that's going to be us very shortly, guys. Onto Unicom. I'm just going to bring over Valenta once more, show you some of the ATC around, and it looks like we've got unlucky again.
138, were you going to refile on the new flight plan?
Yeah, I'm going to refile on that one. Thanks. Yeah, I was going to.
All right, that's great. You found exactly the right thing.
So what we can do for a second is talk a little bit about Canadian air traffic control zones, because there's a lot of it online. I was also going to fly over here from somewhere over in Newfoundland, maybe St. John's, maybe Halifax. I was thinking over to Toronto, but that wasn't the flight today. I wanted to do something on the West Coast. We promised everybody a daytime flight. We've done a lot of nighttime flights on the streams, so today we get a daytime flight, and of course the weather is not cooperating. However, so this is the flight we chose to do today, albeit there's a lot of other American and Canadian ATC on. So if we talk a little bit about the Canadian ATC areas, just in Canada, because America has quite a bit more, but Canada is sort of a bit easier to understand. Other than the very East Coast, it's a bit of a mess. The problem is that, as it's not displayed here, the East Coast also covers half of the North Atlantic Ocean, as airplanes fly over to Europe, and then part of Ireland here, Shanwick, they cover the other half. But anyway, if you take away Gander and Shanwick, which is the oceanic parts, we have Moncton Center being one of the eastmost radar controllers.
Jazz 138, I can amend the flight plan for you.
To the west of them, beside them in Canada, after Moncton Center, is Montreal Center. So they do all the way from east of Quebec to just west of Ottawa. And then what's not online and shown here is Toronto Center. So Toronto's going to do all of this, if you can follow the mouse there, down to the middle of the lake here, up by Detroit, and where it meets Minneapolis Center, I suppose it is, right there. So Toronto Center covers most of Ontario, right up to, I'd say 3/4 of Ontario, and then you get from all of the remaining.
138.
If you take out Toronto Center, all the remaining space there is
clearance?
Winnipeg Center. So there's Winnipeg arrivals online, but Center Tower radar controllers offline. And then we have Edmonton Center, that's who we're with at the moment, who we've been talking to. They have, without a doubt, one of the largest Canadian if not Canadian, largest radar coverage zones in the world.
All right, let's pretend we're starting from scratch here. You're cleared to Edmonton, Banff to departure, flight planned route, 35 left, and squawk 0123.
Okay, clear to advance.
And gentlemen, we are about to start the train. Make sure your train eagle is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle.
Yep, that's perfect. Jazz 138, the readback is correct. Let me know when you're ready to taxi.
And gentlemen, we are about to start the train. Make sure your train eagle is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle.
Alright guys, sorry, I'm just, like we were mentioning, we're almost out of Edmonton airspace. So we're trying to enjoy as much of the ATC as we can. We'll start our chat. Some of the stuff we have to talk about a little bit later when we're into the Unicom. There's quite a little Congo line there, 6 or 7 airplanes flying together. Out of Seattle it seems. They're doing Seattle to San Francisco, so they're going to get there quite a bit sooner than I will. But we can only hope that that sort of drags on some ATC for us. That would be great. So anyway, back to what we were talking about is Edmonton Center, who have one of the largest air traffic control zones in the world. And this is it. It covers all of northern Canada and right up into Yukon, and then would be another one there for Alaska. But BC Center's beside it. It's here. It's just to the left. It's just this little area controller compared to a lot of the other ones in Canada. BC Center is one of the smallest ones. And then you can see that they all cut off right at the Canadian-US borderline.
Air Canada 452, contact Vancouver Center now, 133.7.
And it almost mimics the provinces a little bit. I mean, you know, there's no Saskatchewan Center, and it's not really Ontario Center, but they don't do it by the province names, they'll do it by the big city names. And Edmonton sort of beat out Calgary, I suppose, here in Alberta. Down in the States, there's quite a bit more ATC. We've Denver Center online here, Albuquerque Center, Seattle Center would be here. There's all kinds of little air traffic zones, little airspaces you have to be very careful for. We go over to the East DC Center, then you get New York Center, Boston Center, and fits right in here. Boston Center is the eastmost ATC in the United States. So that's a little bit about North American ATC and the coverages anyway. A little bit of good news for me, guys. I mentioned it way back when, but we'll mention it again. I've successfully passed my Student 1 exam for Toronto Center. So I'm in the waiting list for a trainer, and as soon as a trainer becomes available, I'm going to start my air traffic control journey out of Toronto Pearson. It's the airport I picked. That's where I want to start my my journey. I live in the city. I live near Toronto Pearson, and I think it'd be a great thing to try and be able to control it on the sim. I fly out of there regularly. Fly out of there probably as much as I can, as much as anywhere else. Probably my favorite airport, such as, you know, it is my home airport, home base. So to be able to control it there on the network would be awesome. So future streams like this, right now when nobody's online in Toronto Center, I might hop on there, do ground or tower when I get my S2, and we'll see how far I go with the controlling. I don't know if I'm up to the task of being an area controller, C1 as it were, control 1, but we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a long journey trying to be a controller, and for now we'll just make sure people's do the delivery in the ground, and make sure people get around the ground and their flight plans look right, because I can do that pretty well. I do it on my own without any issues. We heard on the stream there's quite a few issues on other people departing Calgary there. Couldn't really figure out what their flight plan was, but he did reroute me, and he mentioned why, but he didn't mention...
Canada 1013, you're going to be leaving the Edmonton airspace in a few miles. Seattle's not online at the moment, so you can monitor Unicom now 22.8. Service terminates. We'll see you again.
We'll head over to Unicom. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your detailed help, and we appreciate your time. Have a great day. Air Canada 1013.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much for flying.
You'll see us again. Alright guys, so that's us getting handed off from Edmonton Center. And we'll head over to Unicom, but as we mentioned before, there's not a whole lot of reason for us to really go over to Unicom at the moment. We don't need to make any announcements. We're probably not going to hear any announcements. Certainly not while we're in the air and in cruise.
X-Ray Sierra, Edmonton.
So what we can do is just cheat for the sake of the stream a little bit. We'll stay on with Edmonton Center. We can hear what's going on with them. Like I said, this is one of my favorite controllers, absolute favorite controllers on the network.
Certainly. Plan the RNAV 4 and let me have a look at it in detail, and I'll get back to you on the routing.
As much as Toronto is my favorite place to land into, to work out of, Edmonton Center, for this reason alone, for this controller alone, it's one of my favorite areas to fly through. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. Anyway, we'll stay on with him because Unicom is...
M3 X-Ray Sierra, you have the recent weather.
So Unicom, they call it. It's a universal advisor frequency where anyone within about 40 miles or 60 miles of the aircraft can talk on it. There is no controller, and you basically just broadcast what you're doing, where you're going, and if what you broadcast or somebody else broadcasts something similar, you start to take that upon yourself to make changes, and you can sort of chat with that pilot amongst yourselves. So Unicom's, for the most part, 99% of the time, it's pretty quiet, pretty boring.
X-Ray Sierra, you can proceed direct Vinvu from your present position.
Anyway, guys, we have 1,500 feet before we're at cruise.
Delta Romeo Alpha, squawk mode C on your transponder.
We're almost at flight level 370. If we go to our progress page, we'll see that our optimal recommended max is 379, so we're getting close. It's right there. It says optimal is 375.
Romeo Alpha, identify.
We're pushing it a little bit. We probably should have held it at 350 for a little bit. But since we're well past that, pardon me, not 350, 360.
Delta Romeo Alpha, you can turn right now direct to the VOR Yankee Foxtrot Sierra and on course.
Just so we maintain under the optimal flight level. However, 5,000 feet isn't going to hurt us in the sim. But what it is doing is, you can see our room to accelerate is slowly shrinking, and our room to lose speed is slowly shrinking. So as long as we maintain what we're doing, that's fine. But as we hit a little turbulence, or if there was a problem with the aircraft, we don't have a lot of room to we don't have a lot of flexibility. Here's green dot speed. So green dot speed is sort of the safest you really want to fly. Safest speed you want to fly without flaps. And you can see we're not very far over that at this altitude given our weight. So there we are, we just made it, guys, which is lucky. We just burned sort of enough fuel and got our weight to the point where, as we're approaching 380, the recommended max is 380 and the optimal change to 380. So actually the best place for us to be is 380. So what this will do is slowly now, instead of decrease, we'll find that the operational window between our overspeed and our alpha prod starts to increase. Flight level 375, almost 380. Aircraft's just trying to get there, but we're still in the clouds. It looks like we're just about on top of them. Let's go outside, guys. Might get a little bit loud here. Yeah, so as we can see, clouds still are just everywhere. We're just in quite a heavy cloud layer, which is a very high cloud layer. So even though we're up here at 380, we're still in the very wisps of the clouds, just the very ends. We can't really go any higher anyway to get out of it, so there's not really much to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, just to let you know, we've reached our cruise level. We're not anticipating any delays, so hopefully we will have you at your destination on time, as planned. As the cabin crew make their way around the aircraft, please make sure the aisles are clear of any items. And I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight. Thank you.
Alright guys, so the first officer with us today, he made the announcement. We've reached our cruising altitude, 380. That's what we were talking about. Ooh, we were having a little stuttering there. I hope you guys in the stream aren't experiencing too much lag. That was a bit of a lag. I thought that was one of the things that we were going to gain from Sim Update 6, is a little bit of FPS. I look around the cabin, it seemed to have about 21, 25, pretty stable, which isn't too bad. No, I've had that before. That's sort of a weird reflectionary, as you see there on the left. Interesting. But it goes away when I want to look right at it. We set the TCAS to below. Again, it's not working, but it's a habit that we're going to maintain for when TCAS does return to us, now that we are not climbing any higher. Guys, you can see here that we have finally left Edmonton Center. We've crossed over into the States, so we'll keep our squawk code. We don't have to make any changes to that because we were assigned one by ATC on the ground. It's quite disappointing that we seem to have lost all of this around San Francisco. But again, as I was mentioning before, it seems that there's about 1, 2, 3, 4,
Radio, Jazz 138, talk.
5 or 6 aircraft here that are flying from Seattle to San Francisco.
138, stand by a moment.
Not sure if that's like a group flight or it's a whole bunch of cameraman Pug 21. So maybe it's a streamer, maybe it's another streamer. He's dragged a few people. They all seem to be UPS flights, FedEx flights. Maybe it's a cargo run flight. So we can only hope that potentially San Francisco comes online. The time out there is going to be a little earlier. It's only 3:30 from here. That's Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. Over in Calgary, it's going to be a little earlier anyway. Probably about 1:30. I'm not sure. And then BC, I think it's 3:30. Sorry, I think it's only 11:30. So anyway, I think it's about the same time in San Francisco. It's only 11 or 11:30 in the morning. So hopefully, as the time goes on, another hour or so, maybe about 12:30.
Chad, I want to thank for your patience. Taxiing for 35 left. Taxi Gulf and Charlie, cross 29 and 26 and hold short 35 left.
Okay, Gulf and Charlie, cross 29, cross 6, 5, left for Jazz. That's great.
Dash 138, that is correct, and the altimeter is 2947.
Number 2947 for Jazz, 138.
Sorry guys, I just whacked the microphone. Didn't mean to punch you guys. Anyway, so we're going to do a quick fuel on board check, make sure everything looks good and that we still have enough fuel to get where we're going. So if you go to the fuel prediction, here we seem to have the same sort of problem we had before. But we've lots more fuel this time on the aircraft, so I sort of prepared for this better. However, we do have a long flight as well, so we're going to lose this, I'm sure, a destination to our alternate.
November 540 Alpha Kilo, Edmonton Radio, good day to you.
Until it yells at us, and again, it is sort of a bug. Just have to take a ton of extra fuel.
Departures out of the Calgary terminal control area require using either the SID or the the jet or the non-jet SIDS. In your case, as a turboprop, it would be the non-jet flavors. I think for your southbound routing, the first waypoint would be Dumra, but I don't know how that affects other aspects of your flight plan. I can amend it to bypass the J537 airway that you filed, because I'm not familiar with it. Just have you go to Dumra and then direct Mike Lima Papa. Would that work for you?
Okay, this is the 54 Alpha Kilo. We're actually a Falcon 50, so we're a jet.
Well, it's interesting. That's a Euroscope error. Then it looks at whatever aircraft type code you use and goes from there. So the principle is the same, however. So the jet version of this would still have you going over Dumra and then continuing from there.
I'm going to have to call you back. I'm going to have to look up some of that stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, the standard instrument departures, do you have a source for plates for Calgary?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, if you look at the Banff 2 departure, you'll see all of the required waypoints on the perimeter of the TCA. I think the most appropriate one for you would be Dumra. And then you would have to figure out what your next waypoint would be from there. Now, I don't want to make your life miserable. We can carry on with what you filed, and you can think through your flight plan for the next time you fly out of Calgary, which is fine with me.
Oh, that's okay, sir. I'll look it up and I'll call you back.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Alright guys, so it seems to be another person who had a little bit of an issue with departing from Calgary there. So we got it right. He changed which one we picked.
WestJet 2230, what was your planned cruise altitude? Alright, that's not what I received, so I'll
Alright guys, so let's forget about the pro prediction for now.
You need a jet departure. You need a jet departure, and you happen to have chosen waypoints appropriate for non-jet. So next time, look at the Banff 2 departure and choose a routing which uses one of the waypoints on the Banff 2. It's usually what we use. That is Stampede 9 for jets. Waypoints would be the same. Stand by.
Alright guys, again, I'm just trying to let ATC talk a little bit more before we lose them, because it's a long flight, we're going to lose them, so it's nice to listen to what they have to talk about. So we have ice not detected, so let's go ahead and we can finally turn off the ice. We could have done that a little bit earlier when we got to the top. Look at that, we've come out of the clouds, isn't that beautiful? So let's take a look outside guys and see what we have to see. Guys, as we do look behind, we can see the clouds that we came out of there, quite high, quite a high stretching cloud range. And now as we pass through that, here we are. Quite a beautiful view over northwestern America. Of the clouds, that is. Let's go back inside. So we turn off the anti-ice.
At 2230, you're cleared to...
And as we look at our fuel, it is slowly dropping. The estimated fuel on board for the diversion. We won't be diverting today. However, that is something that they said they've identified in the World Update 6, because it's an Asobo issue, as we mentioned a little earlier. That's not a, for now, fly-by-wire issue, as their fuel flow isn't quite finished model yet.
The code 0275.
Because they have to do a complete overhaul of the aircraft and the engines and everything. So they've done quite a lot of good work, fly-by-wire. I can't say enough how much good work that they've done with this. How everything is modeled, and it's all for free. There's just a few things that they can't take care of until they fork away from the Asobo sort of default
Readback is
coding.
correct. The information is Quebec. Push start your discretion. Call for taxi. Jazz 138. Altimeter's now 2947. There, the weather just rolled over.
So guys, what I think we're going to do is take a quick break because we still have ATC and we are slowly getting further and further away from it. We're going to slowly start losing other aircraft. We're going to slowly start losing the controller himself as we get further and further away. So I'll give you guys something to listen to.
5050 Tango, Edmonton Radio, you're
And I'll be back shortly. Just going to grab a drink because we're going to have a long chat about World Update 6. We're going to talk about the arrival and anything else that you guys have for me. You guys can pop into the chat there. I appreciate so far everyone that's come. Jake, I know you were there. Phil, and Noah, as always. I know you said my voice sounds a little odd, so I'm not really sure how to go about fixing that. I wonder if it just has to do with the rest of the desktop audio being a little louder. When I get really close to the microphone like this, hopefully that's a bit better.
Or 3358 Edmonton.
In the meantime, there's not too much I can do about my voice, so it sounds a little bit deep, you said. I can't really change the bass. Maybe you're just not used to my voice sounding so deep.
Calgary, 35.
Anyway, guys, I'll be back shortly, and I will leave you to ATC for about 10 minutes or less. Okay, guys, so we'll set up a little timer there, and I'll see you soon.
Encore 3358, all correct, planning the ILS 35 left. Alaska 41 Edmonton Radio, where are you located? Well, so you are. Stand by. You know, your flight plan hasn't displayed in my flight plan list, which is why I asked that silly question. I wonder if there's a typo in it. There is. You filed your departure as CYYG instead of C. I'll amend it. Hey, Alaska 41 Edmonton. You've happened to use an exit waypoint from the TCA that's intended for non-jet airplanes. For your next time out of Calgary, have a look at the Banff 2 departure and choose a waypoint, choose a routing with a waypoint appropriate to that departure. It's the one we use most here for parallel departures off the parallels. We'll leave it as is for today. You're cleared to Edmonton on the Banff 2 departure. The flight plan route departing 35 left, squawking 0725. Alright, I'll get that. Alaska 41, your readback is correct. The current information is Quebec. Push start your discretion, call taxi. Jazz 138, fly the runway heading, give me a call in the air. Winds are 30018, gusting 25, clear takeoff, 35 left. 13 X-ray Sierra, when ready, descend to 10,000 feet. The altimeter, East River 2951. South 138, Edmonton Radio, you're identified. Proceed direct Bitka and on course. On course VP 58 and 4,000, 14,000. Gabriel Center 294. Send 14,000. I'll go center 294.
Alright guys, we're back. Thanks for waiting. It's been quick 10 minutes. I hope it was quick for you, it's quick for me. And let's get back into it. Here we go. So we're back on the flight deck. I haven't heard much out of ATC in a while. I think we've gone past their airspace. That's why we can't do them anymore. So that's what I was sort of waiting to chat with you guys with, because I knew we were going to lose what we could hear from them. So let's switch over to Unicom. It's where we're supposed to be, 122.8. And then you can see here is the active frequency. So this is the radio and communication panel right here. VHF1 is generally what we use if there was a malfunction with this. We have two backups, 2 and 3. Alternatively, the co-pilot here could use 2 and 3 to monitor something else at the same time that I was monitoring this, such as an ATIS. Or if you were going to Oceanic, for example, you can call them ahead and get your Oceanic clearance while one pilot, for example, still listen to the active area controller. A few other things in here, but we won't go over those at the time. There's sort of a few backups in here, backup frequencies, ILS, VOR. Other ways to enter the frequency if for whatever reason the RadNav page here isn't working. So let's take a quick look. We've got about 600 miles to go, so we're about a third of the way through our flight. I gave the FlyLive bar a little kick. Again, I know I said I wouldn't. It seems to be working for the moment. That's good. So let's see how long that goes for. Anyway, so one of the things we were going to discuss today, guys, is Sim Update 6. It's a big update. So Microsoft Flight Simulator has put up their roadmap for the update of this game. It's still in its early... God, I love that deep. Chuck Norris. Hi, Curdy. I know that's Curdy. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. I know you couldn't find it, so I'm glad my link worked for you. How did you manage to get Chuck Norris as a YouTube handle? That's quite impressive. The voice, other people were saying that the mic sort of lowers my voice down, so it makes me, it's not a filter, but it does make me sound a little bit better for a stream anyway. So we'll keep with the low, deep voice and pretend that that's exactly what I sound like. Anyway, guys, so we're going to talk about Sim Update 6, so we still have some time. Probably not the most interesting. Curdy, while you're here, because I know you're going to leave very shortly, give you a peek around the aircraft. We're flying from Calgary. It was a very rainy, ugly departure in Calgary. We had a lot of ATC, and now we're on to advisory, as there's no ATC around Seattle. We flew through some heavy cloud, which you can see way in the back there. Couldn't really see anything up until cruise, and now we have a good view of the clouds. Anyway, over so what you guys are hearing is self-loading cargo, as we mentioned before. Where'd it go? Come on back. Hold on a second, guys. There it is. We're up 98% satisfied, and they started serving some alcoholic drinks. The first movie's over, so we're going to go ahead and start the second movie, and we're going to try and keep that satisfaction rising. As we can see down here, we have no medical issues on the flight. I've heard that has been added in, so there's a small percentage on every flight now that you could have a medical issue, ranging from something like a heart attack to childbirth, and then it's up to you as the pilot if you want to divert, if you want to accept that medical issue. And then it'll affect your satisfaction rating as well. You can make announcements if you have to divert, or if there's any delays, anything like that. If there's a lot of traffic, the self-loading cargo. Very interesting app. You can see all of your passengers. You click on them, it generates a name for them, and it tells you all of their thoughts, their moods, what they need. And Miss Jennifer Montag is 88 years old, and she's relaxing. She's having a good time. Anyway, so the weather's cleared up. It's looking pretty nice outside, and now it's a good time to talk about Sim Update 6. So Curdy, thanks for showing up. If you take off, I appreciate it. I'm flying to San Francisco, if I did mention that. When we planned the flight, we wanted to do one that had ATC on the whole way. How I look at that, we have another app called Volanta. We've mentioned that a few times on the stream, and we saw that there was a lot of Canadian ATC on, and then at the time we had all of this San Francisco Center online, and they've recently gone off. So it's a little bit unfortunate for us. We're on Unicom. We're hoping that with all these other aircraft that are coming in to San Francisco, somebody pops online there, and then they usually stay on for about an hour or two. So we might get some ATC there. If not, we'll at least be on Unicom with all these other aircraft, and we'll hear them talking. It's sort of why we left the ATC on in Edmonton as long as we could, because it's a little bit more quiet now. So anyway, thanks again for coming out. You'll probably get bored about the next bit because it's a bit about the sim. So sim update 6, guys, came out 19th of October, version 1.20.6. So this one is probably the best of the sim updates. As we all know, the sim updates tend to usually break or damage something 2 steps back before they take their 1 step forward. But this time it seems to have made quite a bit of fixes, and there's not really too many problems. So the size of the download really depends on the game version you have. You know, there's 3 versions: the regular, the deluxe, and I think the ultimate version. Those different between the 2 other than the price is just some of the handcrafted airports that Sobo's given us and a few different aircraft. I have the standard version, and it's about 5 gigs. The update took me only about half an hour, not even. And some of the things it does is bring DirectX 12 to the simulator finally. So what that's supposed to do is manage the GPU, CPU usage a little better. And you can see some of the smoothness. I do notice it. I definitely notice some of the smoothness as I'm looking around the cockpit. I have the FPS counter here in the top left. It might be hidden behind the FlyLive bar. But before, when I would pan around really quickly and go outside, it would drop down to as low as 12. And now it hasn't really dropped below 20. 20 seems to be the absolute minimum, which is fantastic, and it likes to when I'm not moving around, stabilize around 28, and 28 is beautiful. So the sim's running just great for me. The other thing it's bringing is Windows 11 compatibility. I haven't upgraded to Windows 11. I'm not sure about Windows 11 really yet, what's new with that, and but for the people that have done that, I know Microsoft Windows and Microsoft 11, they want it all to work flawlessly, so that's I know that that's going to be Microsoft's high priority to try and push people, and I know they're already trying to give out recommendations to try Windows 11. It's one of the new fixes as well. If anyone complains about any problems, they say, oh, have you tried Windows 11? So they're pushing that through pretty hard. One of the updates, what's in the update is the new AirX cycle. I know Asobo's usually a little bit behind. We've had the new AirX cycle 2110 for a few weeks, and they just got it to us, so that's fine. I can look in here. I know we looked in it earlier. If we go into the data page and check the aircraft status, we see that we have the active AirX cycle until 3rd of November. So that's active. There's been a lot of other little changes too in the settings. It seems to be very gusty, guys, so what you're hearing is an altitude deviation alarm. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to see what's going on with the aircraft. I haven't really paid attention since I got back from the break, and it appears quite a bit of weather up here, so for whatever reason we've deviated downward trend. There's probably a wind shift. Now we have a 29 knot headwind. Before we had part of a bit of crosswind, so what that's done is dropped the aircraft speed, so it's lowered the nose to try and do that. And then it's probably overcompensated by re-raising the nose to recapture flight level 380. In the raising of the nose, it's lost the speed again, and it's struggling to get up here to 380 at the targeted airspeed. So we are at 89% thrust, so there's no problems there. And if we go to the progress page, optimal is 380. So it's a bit bumpy. We are in Unicom, so what we might be able to do, because the wind is right in our face and the aircraft seems to be not handling the turbulence too well at this altitude, so if it becomes a problem again, we'll drop down to 360, potentially 340. Curtis says, have I tried it on console? He has an Xbox and just wondering if it would be different compared to PC. One of the things they've done recently, in the last sim update, that's what we're talking about, is optimized it for Xbox. If you guys have an Xbox, it'll work. It doesn't work for PS4, PS5, and they've made it very user-friendly for Xbox users. It's another sort of Microsoft thing that they want, is as many users as they can, push that on as many different consoles as they can, and right now they're on Xbox, so they've changed it. They pissed off a lot of PC users, because they've optimized it more for console. So a lot of the settings were changed, a lot of the way that you interact with buttons were changed, and a lot of the way that the game read the flight information and transmitted that across the network changed. So they try to make it primary for Xbox. So short, yes, I've heard a lot of people have a lot of fun with it on Xbox. It's a little more arcade based. You can't get a lot of the same mods that you can for PC. Whatever you can get on the marketplace. So what the marketplace is Asobo or Microsoft. They have an internal store which has free items and pay for items. So anything that's in there is generally translated to the Xbox, and anything on the FlightSim.to network, which is sort of the Microsoft Flight Simulator's main affiliated download mod website, where you can find scenery, different aircraft, different liveries, different aircraft paint, that kind of stuff. Anything from FlightSim.to, if they're not affiliated with Asobo, if they haven't put their stuff on the marketplace, you won't have access to it. So for example, the aircraft model that I'm flying by fly-by-wire is the experimental version, so it has a little bit more of the custom flight plan manager. It has a little bit better guts and system. I think they have a stable version on there, but for example, you couldn't get the experimental version. There is some mods, most of the big stuff that you'd need on there, or if you just want to pick up an airplane and fly a Cessna, right out of the box, it's going to be pretty good. It's just going to be on a controller, so you can figure out how to fly it on a controller. It'd be a little different that way, but otherwise I'm sure the flight mechanics are exactly the same, because they've modeled it for Xbox primarily now. Anyway guys, we're gonna finish up about Sim Update 6. So another thing that they updated, which is really nice, I don't know if you remember on this stream, many times they had that bug. When I jump outside, the camera is this is where I left it, but it would sort of leave it where I left it, but at an inverted angle, so maybe like this. And it would always be a pain. You'd wonder why, and you'd have to come back and reset the camera. So they acknowledged that the rotation, the tilt axis, was a bug. They fixed that, so now every time you go outside, it'll maintain where you were in relation to the aircraft, but it won't, okay, what's going on now? We're still in climb, so again, the aircraft has lowered the nose earlier to try and maintain the speed, and then the wind has changed. Now we have a 60 knot wind. A minute ago it was a 25 knot headwind, so now I've got a 60 knot headwind, so the aircraft pitched down to try and pick up the speed. It's lost the altitude, and then it's overcorrected. So 380 is not working for us guys, unfortunately, so there's no air traffic control. We would request lower. We're going to go ahead and descend to flight level 360, and we're going to hope that the turbulence sorts itself out, because it's sort of taking us for a ride at the moment. I'm sure the passengers aren't happy. Kurt, thanks so much for coming. I hope that answered your question. Chuck Norris. I still don't know how you got Chuck Norris on YouTube. That's pretty incredible. So what we are going to do is just quickly peek back on Volanta. There it is. There's still no ATC. That's fine. So we don't have to worry about looking or requesting. So we're going to descend to flight level 360, and we're going to hope that that sort of does us a little better. It's going to give us a little more room here in our conference corner. So When I descended to 360, it was just a flight level change, and self-loading cargo seems to have thought that we've begun our top of descent. So even though we're still about 500 miles away, it hasn't figured that out. Now, if you're watching what's going on here, that's the turbulence. That's the direction wind change as we're flying through the jet streams. Because now, if you look, we have a crosswind of 30 knots, and just a minute ago, it was a 60 knot headwind coming in from probably about 160, probably just about from the northwest. And now it's half that coming in from the northeast. So the aircraft's struggling to cope with that. So that's why we descended, to give this room here between our lowest and our fastest. We're going to make that space a little bit bigger. That's the coffin's corner here. That's the problem. You heard the beeping. We went into overspeed when we got the huge loss of wind, and then when we got the double the amount of wind, when we got 60, we lost. We were right down here about 230. So the passengers would definitely feel it. From what I, that would be quite a bit of a bumpy ride. I'd probably turn on the seatbelt sign. The 360, 20,000 feet or 2,000 feet less, so I'll handle that a little bit better. What I would have liked to have done is click the turbulence button, and I might go ahead and do that again. But we'll see if we get any more turbulence. I know I said that last time, but we'll see this time if that isn't it. Now that we're down to 360, everything looks good now, so there's not much more changes we need to make. One of the other issues that we've had since Sim Update 5, since they optimized it for Xbox, was the altitude reporting issues. So what I mean by that is I would be here at 360, and ATC, especially on the Vatsim network, might see me at 370 or 368 or any variation up or down, and the altitude reporting wasn't very accurate. So the problem with that was everybody flying on Microsoft Flight Simulator was struggling on the Vatsim network and across other networks, FlyLive and other FCUIPC, ACARS, basically any other program that would monitor what you're doing and for flight following would be off. So that was a big complaint, and they actually had to make a hot fix, which they did within about a week of the last Sim update, and it fixed it for a lot of things. It fixed it from being really far away to, in some cases, only 500 or 600 feet away. We've shown earlier how the FlyLive bar was finding me about 500 feet difference. And then now, so one of the big fixes in this Sim update is that the altitude displays and the altimeter conversion issues, where potentially 3016 would not be the right mathematical height as it should be, and then 3017 would be farther away or further closer to it than it should be than we were at 3016 in that instance. All those altimeter mathematical fixes have been fixed, and the altitude displays have been fixed. We talked about the aircraft and the AI lighting. We've already shown when it was in heavy clouds, when we took off out of Calgary, we couldn't see anything, and there were the two aircraft behind us, and you could see their lights through the clouds. It's excellent. It works perfect. So we're not going to have any more issues from ATC. Asking us if we can see the aircraft, if we can see the traffic, and we have to basically say no. If you can just let us know that it's when it's a non-traffic issue. We've done a couple other fixes. General stability to VR. I don't personally use VR. I know a lot of people out there use Microsoft Flight Simulator specifically for VR because of the how beautiful the game can be, how beautiful the terrain and the mods when you get them. It can make everything look. So there's a lot of general stability fixes in VR, as people who do VR say that it's very buggy. Other complaints, people said autopilot was not acting right on some aircraft. It would turn off, it wouldn't turn on. In a lot of instances it is pilot error in some cases. However, in some cases it definitely was an autopilot issue, so they said that they fixed the autopilot not acting properly and not engaging on some aircraft. And other than that, some of the only final fixes, they did a bunch of upgrades to their stock SOBA aircraft, the A320, the 787 Dreamliner, the 747-800. If you guys go on to their website, you can see the change log. It's not. It's a nice list, and it just shows you everything in bullet form, all the changes they've done. So they're slowly trying to make their aircraft a little better, but fortunately, it'll never compete with the mechanics, the flight mechanics of this fly-by-wire A320, in my opinion. Just about every other aircraft they've got to fix as well. The TBM, the Beechcraft Bonanza, and all the other aircraft that Asob will bring to the table, they've tweaked a little bit here and there. So if you haven't done the update yet, the one thing you just have to make sure is that you do, after you do the update, you go to your content manager and you click update available, updates available, and then you'll see all the world packages that you've had updated to this point in there, and they'll all need an update as well. If you don't update your packages as you fly through certain airspaces, you can find crash desktops, other things like that. So you want to make sure you update all the things in your content manager before you go flying. And then once you're done updating, the last thing you have to do is go to your general options, and under the data setting, you want to scroll down and delete any saved rolling cache that you have. You don't want to keep that from the old terrain data. You don't want to keep that from the old sim and bring that over to the new one. So if you want to keep running on rolling cache, you have to delete it and then go in and set a new one after you've done the update. But what you need to do is update all the packages and then delete your rolling cache. So after you've updated, do those two things and then restart the sim. Basically shut it down completely, go in your community folder, and for me, just with the fly-by-wire A2nx, I got rid of it and I let it install a fresh one in there just so there weren't any conflictions. Some people, when they don't do it that way, they find that something doesn't work right and the aircraft is invisible, or if they rename their community file and then they just download the new one in there, the aircraft conflicts and things tend to be not working properly or invisible. So if you just, I left everything in my community folder. I know Microsoft recommends getting rid of everything and bringing it back. That's what this test flight's about. So far everything's worked just fine. I don't have a lot in my community folder. It's mostly just liveries and the A2nx. So I had the pushback bar before that got rid of the bar here at the top, but as you can see now, that was another update to the sim where they add their own toolbar hider. So as you can see, the toolbar is on there, and if I go up to it, there it is. But after a minute or so, the diamond will disappear. So that helps screenshots and makes the sim look a little bit better. Anyway, so after you restart your sim, you should be good to go. Go into the fly-by-wire A2nx downloader and update the experimental version. In my opinion, that's the only version that everyone should be flying. It's the best version, and there's really no bugs to it at all. The custom flight plan manager makes flying the aircraft an absolute dream, and it takes the Asobo's issues completely out of it. There's one other thing about the sim update. If you were somebody who altered the config files, changed the way some of the settings were set in there to get better graphics settings, with the addition of Sim Update 6 and it's the way it works with DirectX 12, you need to make sure you reset all your config files back to default. Basically, if you don't do that, if you don't reset all the config files before you try and fly, before you try and set up your aircraft in a world and fly, you'll just basically get an immediate crash of desktop. And more so to this, see, and I'm not 100% sure how the config files work. I don't alter that myself. If that's something you do external to the game, you have to do it even before you update, because some people were saying that if they left their config files in an altered state and just tried to update the game, they immediately got prompted that the game was going to uninstall, and uninstalled the game and it reinstalled the game, and that can take, as some of us know, absolute hours. So make sure you clear your config file first, reset that to default, and you won't have to do a multi-hour reset. Uninstall and restall, that is. So that's about it for Sim Update 6. There's a lot more information from the Sim Update that we haven't discussed, but you guys can go and check it out. That's just basically the basics, some of the things that affect us on the stream the most, the lighting, and a few of the other things that we use here all the time. So that's good for us. We've noticed the frames are better, and yeah, so far it's a pretty good flight other than the winds. So if we take a look over at our map where we were, so that was over north of Oregon here, where we had a little bit of our wind issues. So there's a little bit of a mountain range coming up to us, so I'm assuming that we're getting just some wind shifts off the terrain, because that's a big factor to how the winds work. So if you fly over the Rockies or if you fly over the Alps, you'll find it's quite a bumpy flight. You find that the wind change direction happens all the time, just like it was happening here. So if I were to guess, I would say that we had a little bit of some wind over the terrain beneath us, even though we can't see it, unfortunately. Now, did I leave that there? Or is that part of the bug? But anyway, yeah, the cloud covering is still quite thick, quite heavy, and we're not going to be able to see any of the nice mountainous area. We've had some streams in the past with clear skies the whole way. We saw some very nice views of Denver, I believe we flew into, and then a flight into Boston from Moncton, and one of the, I think it was the second or the third stream we did. The weather was just gorgeous, so there's not too many screenshots that I want to take at the moment. Normally I would jump out, grab a couple of screenshots. I got one on the ground there during the rain in Calgary, so we'll probably end up using that one for our next flight. Self-loading cargo, guys, we are at 98%, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what everybody needs. They've all had their first movie around food, coffee, and alcohol, so they'd probably appreciate another round of alcoholic drinks, so we can serve that. Oh dear. I just realized I've been muted for quite a long time. Apologize, not sure how that happened. We've been talking to nobody, it seems, and we're not too far. I'm not too sure how far back I wasn't talking. So anyway, guys, I'm sorry for that. Hopefully you were following along with the visuals. Nobody piped up, nobody said anything, so sorry that I was muted. It's just a little button over there on OBS. When I think they were giving out the drinks or the food, I muted myself so you could hear them talk. But anyway, in a nutshell, we were talking about self-loading cargo, and we were just looking at the satisfaction rating of everybody, and we went through all the filters, and it just seems like people need a little bit more food, and some people need the toilet. So they can sort that out themselves, and hopefully that starts to rise satisfaction. So again, sorry I'm muted. I was talking to myself. Okay guys, so we got about 400 miles to go, which isn't too far. We're really moving along in this flight. We're getting close to San Francisco. If we take a look at the air traffic control, we can see we're still not going to get lucky. It doesn't seem. It does look like the majority of those flights have either landed or are on approach. The UPS group from Seattle. There's cameraman Pug. So they're going to be landing in the next 5 to 20 minutes or so. And they didn't seem to get any ATC as well. So we're not too far off. We're more than halfway through our flight. So what we're going to have to do is go ahead and take a look at the approach into San Francisco. We're going to have to pull an ATIS. We're going to have to find out what they're landing. And it looks to me, if I had to cheat a little bit and take a quick peek at this little group, UPS group, cameraman Pug that's landing, they're landing to the northwest. So if you zoom in, it looks like they're going to be landing on the 28s, which is good to note. We'll keep that in our mind when we look for an ATIS. But unfortunately, there's no controller online as of yet. So we can go ahead there. Noah, the voice is better. That sounds great. Again, I haven't really changed anything. I muted myself for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know how long it was. And then now we're back. So thanks to all you guys that are still watching. And we'll go ahead and get an ATIS. I can't really put off pulling a briefing, or I can't really put off that any further because we're just running out of time. So what we can do, we mentioned it last time on stream, but we'll do it this time, is if we go to Google and we go to macosim.com/app/ATIS is a great website. Because it interacts with Vatsim, with IVAO. IVAO is another free network that you can join, similar to Vatsim, and they have controllers and pilots as well. It's more European-based. It's not as big as Vatsim, but people tend to like it a little bit more, or a little bit less, myself included. And then they have the FAA issued, which is the real-world, but US-only ATIS. So if I wanted to put in San Francisco in the ATIS, it will pull the actual ATIS that is issued by the FAA at the moment. So in real world, there's information Victor, and you can see here that wind is 250 at 4 knots. The temperature is 18 degrees, so it's quite a bit warmer than when we left Calgary. There's a bit of broken clouds. Altimeter is 29 or 95. Simultaneous ILS runway 28 left and 28 right. Visual in use as well, so that's good thing. So simultaneous ILS and visual in use, landing 28 right and 28 left. It looks like we'll probably look at the first one for ILS 28 left, and that coincides with what we were saying earlier with that UPS group flight. They were landing to the northwest on the 28s. So we'll land for 28 left, especially if we don't get another controller. The ILS 28 left. So that was information Victor, so let's just write that down. And the wind is 250 at 4, as we said. And we're going to have to plug that into the MCDU. So that's a quick and really easy way to get an ATIS, and since real world weather pulls the same sort of weather from real life as the ATIS would be issued for, it's a good indicator to us that we can confidently know it's going to be close enough that we can land it in the sim without any problems. So what we do now, you can see the MCDU's yelling at us, enter the destination data, but why that is because we lowered from 260. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, I certainly have. Since we came down those extra 2,000 feet, it's been a much smoother ride. The wind's been more steady, we haven't really had any problems, and again, that might also have something to do with the fact that we're probably nowhere near the mountain range that we were before. We're not getting the wind drifts, we're not getting the cycle, the jet streams that we're not crossing through that, which of course we were. If I had a wind overlay, I could probably bring up, and I'm sure I do on Simbrief. So if we go over here and we take a look at the significant weather, and the wind at 390. So the wind is indicated by these little flags, and the more ticks and the thicker the ticks, the heavier the wind. So there is a chart for that. I forget what it is at the moment, but essentially you can see as we came along here, basically where Yumi was, you can see the wind is the most dense. It has about 4 ticks there, and that's where the wind seems to change. From coming right in our face to a bit of a crosswind, and then down more here where we are now, you can see the wind much less. So, anyway, maybe that has something to do with it, maybe not. Again, we deal with the issues as they come. I can't really plan for them because I don't really know where the weather's all going to be pulling from, and we use all these different applications, so many different websites that not really sure at this moment who talks to what talks to who. So we can get Rex Weather. That's another. That's a paid app, but apparently that one, a lot of people, our buddy Brendan, a few other people on the network, they say that Rex Weather is having some really great returns, and they're really quite impressed by it. So let's go ahead and set the performance, the approach into San Francisco. So if we go to the next page, and here's the approach page. So this is where we have to put in the information that we received from the ATIS. However, before that, let's go ahead and set up our approach, which we haven't done that yet. So here's San Francisco, and to arrival, we're going to set up ILS 28 left. We're on the Bodega 3 arrival. And so this is the approach of IS. So how we determine that is pull up the chart, and we're going to look at the approach for totalizer for 28 left. So we want to come through Faith or Eddie. Eddie's an alright choice for us as well. Again, there's no ATC online, so we're going to be doing this all on our own. We're not going to have vectors. We're not going to have any radar vectors into San Francisco, unfortunately. So we'll take Eddie, and our transition, if we go back to Simbrief, the transition can be found on our flight plan. So we're going to transport at Murillo. There's Murillo, and we're going to enter that. And we will check on the arrival plate in a minute. So let's set up our performance. The next phase is ILS 28 left, so that's accurate, what we wanted. The wind is going to be 250, 4 knots. Transition altitude as always is 18,000 feet. And the temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. QNH is 2995. So we do need to look at our barometric approach minima. If we pull the charts back up and we look at ILS, runway 28 left, that's what we're planning. Down here, the ILS charts, we're going to be using, just taking a look at the options here, straight in landing, 28 left, ILS, we're going to be not sure, category C here. So we're category C aircraft. What is the runway elevation? That's a good question. So 28 left, runway elevation is 13 feet. So this is 28 right, so we don't want 28 right. Chart, I was looking for 28 left. We'll put in 213 feet. So it makes 200 feet above the runway. And that's our minimum. So if we're not stable and level and we're not prepared to land at 213 feet, we have to do a go around. Speaking of go around, continue checking the charts what the go around procedures are. So it's 4,000 feet. And we're going to straight out into Olin. So we can also see that represented here. So runway heading 275 straight out to Olin. That's going to be right here. And enter the hold. We will enter the hold if we have to go around, which I don't believe we will today. If we have to, we will cycle back around to the south and intercept for Ed again. We're doing this on our own with no ATC. However, 4,000 feet is the altitude we're looking for. So we can set 4,000 feet into the engine out. So if we have to go into tow thrust, that's the altitude the airplane will target. 106 to board, you guys. 350 to go. So it's time to start thinking about our top of descent and looking at our approach plate. So if we do look at this, we are on the Vega 3 arrival, and we're going to be at Murillo. So we want to be at Murillo, not below 290. And then Mascat at 240. So really Mascat is between flight level 280 and 240. So flight level 260 would be alright as well. However, with the instances of the wind that we have, and we don't really have LNAV. What LNAV is or what VNAV is, sorry, VNAV, we don't have VNAV. That's where the aircraft sort of figures out its own descent line and descends on that line. It manages the speed, it manages the rate of descent. We don't have that yet, it's not modeled because it's part of the engine issue that we were mentioning before. Same issue that affects the fuel. If we go and look at the fuel, you can see now it doesn't like what's happened, and it sort of just said, no, it's not going to make it, we don't like it, we're not going to do it, we give up. So it's given up, it's not going to tell us what its expected fuel on board is, and you can see here, the estimated fuel on board is 3 dashes. So we still got lots of fuel. I know 343 to go is not very far, and we've got 5,800. So we're going to be right where I like to be. We're going to have lots of fuel, ready to make this approach into San Francisco. Hopefully we get to see the Golden Gate Bridge. That's one thing that I haven't really seen in the sim, something that I'm excited to see. I haven't been here in the sim. I think I've departed here and departed to the east, the southeast, and never did get to see it. So. We'll arrive in San Francisco, and I think we're going to fly right over it, right around it. So hopefully the clouds and the weather cooperate for us today. So what haven't we done? We haven't checked the arrival. We haven't looked at it. Let's have a little bit of an arrival briefing. We have to pull back up the charts. We were starting to do it. So Morello, 290, Mascat at 240, and then Bigelow. So if you look right there, it's Bigelow. And then after Bigelow is going to be Lozit. Bring it back up. So here's Lozit at not above 160. So that's going to be below the transition altitude. So it's no longer flight level. It's going to be 16,000 feet. So below 16,000 feet. Bodega's got to be 13,000 feet, and Cork is 11. So as we're coming down from Bigelow, we're going to aim Cork at 11. We're going to get down there. However, after Cork at 11, we still have Bricks at 11, and we're going to look at the speed restrictions. It's basically very straightforward. As we're coming down from Murillo to Muscat, at Muscat we'll be at flight level 240, or at least not below 240 and not above 280, and we'll be at 280 knots. And we're going to maintain 280 knots at all these waypoints, Muscat, Bigelow, Lozic, until we get past Bodega and then to Cork. And at Cork we have to be at 250. And why that's interesting is that we're still at 11,000 feet, still 11,000 feet at Bricks, and 250, normally the restriction would be 10,000 feet. So they want us a little bit slower here, and part of that is they just keep us high, and then we still do have to get down to 3,000 feet. The airport is only 13,000, it's at sea level, but part of that is the other airports around. Coming up to San Jose, and you have to stay out of their arrival and their departure procedures as well. So once we get there, we want to be Eddy at 6,000. So let's just take a look at what this is going to look like and see how far we have to get to Eddy after the manual. Zoom in just a little bit because it's not going to line up perfectly. There's Bodega and Cork, and we'll fly right over the airport. That's a little bit interesting. So it's going to bring me in from Cork to Bricks, right over San Francisco, right over the airport, and then it's going to maintain me a downwind heading where we can maintain the manual and we can cut in at Eddy. So Eddy's going to be, as we said just a little bit earlier, right, oh sorry, we were there. Eddy's at 6,000 and Bricks is 11. So that's a 5,000 difference. But we've got lots of time in between Bricks to get down. So what we can do is clear ourselves to 6,000, and then we'll actually clear ourselves down to 3,000. And if we get there a little earlier, we can turn in earlier. Because if we turn in at Sydney, we pull up the localizer chart. So there's Sydney and there's Heman. And at Heman, we want to be at 3,100 feet or 3,000. And we capture the localizer at 3,000. So as long as we get down to 3,000, we can clear ourselves to Heman, and then Heman will be direct runway course right in ILS. 28 left. The localizer is 109.55, so let's make sure we have that. The red nav, 109.55, final approach is 284. So we're set up, we're ready to do our approach, and all we need to do now is calculate our top descent. It's got to be coming close, because we're 300 nautical miles away. Probably about 150 away from top of descent, maybe 200 away. So how do we determine this? We always go to our EFB, the electronic flight bag, or the pad, flight pad as it's called here in the fly-by-wire, and we see that it's fetching our speed from the sim. We're going to go ahead and sync our altitude. So it's got our altitude at 360. You can see over there. And our target altitude, as we mentioned before, on the Bodega 3 arrival, is Murillo, not below 290. So we want to get 29000, which is only going to take 22 nautical miles. However, this 300 miles is to San Francisco. So if we go to our progress page, and we put in Murillo, into the bearing 2, it'll tell us we're actually 194 away from Murillo. So 300 away from San Francisco and 194 away from our first waypoint on the arrival. So that moves our expected top of descent up a little in our mind, even though we only need 22 nautical miles to start getting down. And we have 191 away. So we're going to start descending in about 160 nautical miles. That gives us 30 or so to Marilla, and we need 22, even though we've got a bit of crosswind, which isn't exactly a tailwind or a headwind, obviously. But, it's not going to give us a bonus or an advantage really either way, but it'll give us about 10 extra nautical miles of room, because after we get to Marilla, we're going to have to keep going down to Muscat at 240, and we're also going to have to find room to slow down to 208 knots. However, everything's looking good. The MCDU is set up, and the passengers are happy. Hey guys, I'm just looking at self-loading cargo again, and it's down to 97%, so we're going to serve them some food, and we'll also give them another movie, because it can be a short movie, and if it doesn't finish, they can search it on Netflix. They can see the end that way. So we're going to serve another round of food, just some snacks, and we'll start another movie. Alright guys, so we're just hoping again for a little bit more ATC. I guess we're not going to get it. We keep willing it on to come, but doesn't look like any of the traffic into San Francisco ahead of us has brought on any traffic. Again, it's probably only about 12:30 over there in the afternoon. It's about 12:40 I guess. It's about 4:40 for me, currently streaming in Eastern time. And well, I guess that on a nice Saturday in San Francisco, most people have better things to do than to get on the Vatsim network and control us sim pilots into the runway. So anyway, we can hope for the best. I've been pleasantly surprised before. We might get lucky. So what we can do, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the channel. There's been some advancements for our channel, just a little bit. Obviously, the FlyLive bar is one of them. Still doesn't seem to want to work with us, unfortunately. I'm just playing with it, playing around with it again, but looks like it might need another restart, unfortunately. So we'll do that once more, and then yeah, I really don't have any explanation for it. And I've done many things. I spent the better part of last week watching different streams, talking to a few people. I reached out to one of the streamers who posted a video on FlyLive, and he recommended the fix that we were talking about earlier, where I make my own profile and redo everything, make my own profile and load it in that way. However, it just doesn't want to maintain the symlink for longer than about 5 or 10 minutes. So the problem with that is that it doesn't capture my landing rate, and it doesn't want to maintain the altitude for very long. So we leave that up again, and we'll hope for the best. Other than that, guys, there's not too long before we reach our top of descent. It's in about 100 miles, so we're going to take another quick break. We're going to make sure we're going to top up the drink, top up the coffee, and make sure we're ready for this landing. So guys, bear with me for another 5 or so minutes. There's no ATC this time. Every time I've left in the past on the stream, there's always been ATC to listen to. So this time it's not going to be too bad. Luckily, we don't have too many people. Well, unluckily, but not too many people are watching. And if you guys are following along on replay afterwards, you can go ahead and put up another timer there. I'll be right back again, and you can just skip ahead to where the timer is. So guys, thanks so much for following along, for watching, for being part of the stream. Curdy, I think you've left. I appreciate you coming out. Mr. Norris, Noah, your constant following is incredibly inspiring, so thank you very much. And Phil, I don't think you're around. Jake, you might come back in a bit if you guys watch it again. Thanks everyone for coming along and for giving a like. Anyway guys, I think we're going to be safe here for a while. As you can see now, with the change in wind, it's up to 73 knots again, coming in from our right side. However, down at 360, we've done a little bit better with our coffin's corner separation, and we're quite nice and stable, so I'm not too worried there. So we'll take a quick break again, and we'll be back shortly and get ready for our descent into San Francisco. It looks outside the clouds are getting lighter, so maybe we'll go outside for this view. We'll give you guys a nice view. Alright guys, hello, we're back with you. Sorry for the delay. It's been another quick 10 minutes. So here we are guys, let's take a look at the flight deck now. We're still at 360 and we're cruising right around where we should be for speed. Let's just bend that up a little bit and see where we are. We're about 57 to Murillo and we need 30. So look at that, we're right around our top of descent. We can take about 32 to Murillo. So guys, just one quick thing before we talk about, before we go down, whoops, sorry for that, get that out of the way. It's just a quick little thing I want to talk about the stream, a couple things we've made. One thing here, the first thing we have is the music. So you guys have been hearing the music. Again, thank you to OBS Studios and their platform for letting that music be used for free, letting that music be used on YouTube without any issues. So that's excellent. We got that from them. OBS Studios, Streamlabs, they're a wonderful platform. That's what I use to stream. It's all free. It's fantastic. The next thing, and I helped get the logo through them, and the sort of the channel persona we're taking on, Radar Vectors with Lucas Mead. That's me, the pilot. We tend to get radar vectors everywhere we go, such as the Life of a Pilot, and right here we have our logo. So that's the radar vectors with Lucas logo. You guys will see that pop up, and right in the middle there, you can see there's the Streamlabs logo hidden, the watermark right in the center. So this is us, radar vectors with Lucas, and you'll be hearing about that on the stream every time, and you'll notice that in the videos and in the intros and the outros. So anytime we hear radar vectors on the stream, let's give a shout out and let's take radar vectors. So let's keep going with our flight. 45 miles to Murillo. We're getting very close to top descent. So I'm glad we've talked about everything we've needed to talk about today. It wasn't a lot. We managed to get through it. I was going to talk about the Phoenix A320 that's also coming out. Last time we talked about the Digital Flight Dynamics A350, which is what we're really excited for. We were going to talk about the, since this is an A320 stream and this is what we fly on the network in this channel is the A320, the fly-by-wire. But when the Phoenix come out, it's going to be a pay-aware A320. And you know that we're going to have to get that. We're going to have to fly it. It's going to be one of the most realistic mods, they say. One of the most realistic paywares on the market that you can buy. And that's going to be an interesting learning curve for us. The Digital Flight Dynamics A350, if that one ever finishes and that one continues, that's going to absolutely be game-breaking. That's going to change the entire game for us. That's going to introduce long-haul streams to the channel, and it's going to be a whole new aircraft that we can learn together. It's still going to be Airbus. It's still going to be mostly the same, but it's also going to be very different. You know, the A350, it has a big working monitor here to the left. It has another big, these two are monitor, and there's two big widescreens in the middle. It also has down here spot to put your hand. It's like a mouse clicker. You move it around. So it's a much bigger aircraft than the A320, and we can fly over to Heathrow. I can stream that. I've done that a few times in the A320, just barely. Taking off from Boston, JFK. Taking off from Montreal. That one I don't think I made it. I had to cheat a little bit and use the refueling inside the sim. I've flown back, and yeah, it'll be a different dynamic on the A350. So I'm excited for that, and we're passing our top of descent. So let's go ahead and set flight level 290, and we can start going down. Whoops. So there we go. Open descent. 290 blue. So when you're on the Unicom network, guys, one of the things you can do at this point is announce your descent. I could announce my name, where I am, and then I'm starting my descent via you know whichever I am. So I'm on the Bodega 3, so I won't. Most people don't. The only real call you're expected to make is when you're actually on final, on short final, I guess, but maybe before you make your turn on final is another good one. People appreciate it, so the more calls you make, the better, especially if there's other traffic around. If you call, it prompts other people to make calls, because if you don't hear anything, you think, there's nobody listening anyway, but if everyone has the same attitude, you can run into issues. So if you make calls, other people may make calls. So that's the best way to do it. I won't make this call, it's not a big deal at this point, but as I get closer and I start to get on final, especially with the arrival flights right over the aircraft, the Bodega 3, I'll definitely make some calls. So Murillo at 290, not below, so we're getting down there very fast. I didn't necessarily mean to get down there this fast, so you can hit the vertical speed and we can slow that to about 2,000 feet per minute, as we're probably way higher, 16 miles to Murillo, and we need 9, so that's about double. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave that. So guys, we're just monitoring our rate of descent here, 2,000 feet per minute, and we're passing flight level 310. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So we're starting our descent. We're coming up to 290. We have Alt Star. The aircraft is going to target 290 and make sure we get there. So I don't need to worry about changing the vertical speed because it captured 290. So here we are, and we're passing Murillo at 4 miles, so that wasn't too bad. So now we have to worry about our next restriction. And we're going to take a look at the next restriction. So there's Murillo, so it's Muscat at 240. So Muscat's not too far away, so we can keep going down 240. And we have to be prepared to be at 280 knots, which is basically where we are and what we're trying to maintain at the moment anyway. I wonder if that's because we're in managed and the aircraft knows, so it's going to hold us at 260 unless we're in open descent, which we are. So that's why it's going to go down to 240. Right around here is 3 degrees. And again, we're not going to go ahead and explain that again, but in short, it's the ground speed divided into times 1,000. So about 22 feet per minute, which is what we're at. So we want to be at Muscat at 280 knots, which is what we are at now, at flight level 240, not below that. And then we're going to continue in from Muscat to Bigelow, and we're going to want to be at flight level 190 and maintain 280 knots. So we're getting close here to San Francisco, guys. Still have 4,580 kilograms of fuel. It's a bit much. I might have taken a bit much. Look at the wind we have. That's going to turn into a tailwind. We have 108 knots coming in from back, so we're going to get down very fast. We're going to have to anyway. I've got my alcoholic beverage going. Okay, Noah, good. All drinks are on the house for you, so get your last drink in now. I've got mine too, but I won't tell anyone else on the flight deck that. So cheers to you, and cheers to anyone else who's watching. here's to having a good landing in San Francisco. So thanks for staying along for the whole stream. We're just going to keep walking through what we're doing. So we're going to, you can hear there, we're getting quite a bit of turbulence. So what we're going to do, guys, is go ahead and turn on the seatbelt sign at the moment. And tell the cabin there's some turbulence. So you can see when I made that announcement, it automatically turned on the seatbelt sign. Anyway, guys, here we are on flight level 240, 280 knots, and we're passing Muscat 3 miles. So that's perfect. Can't get any better than that. And we just have to remind ourselves about Bigelow.
Ladies and gentlemen from the cockpit, once again, just to let you know, we're expecting a small amount of turbulence up ahead, and as such, I've turned on the seatbelt sign. For your safety, please remain seated for a few moments until the lights turn back off. Thank you.
Alright, guys, so that was self-loading cargo as always, making its awesome announcements. I mean that genuinely. It's so much better to have that on a flight these days. I love hearing the ambience in the background. Unfortunately, that little bit of turbulence, they were all kind of screaming a bit. That might be a bit over the top, but you can see we are down to 88% satisfied. So all we can do is offer them as many drinks as we can, as the galley has. And we can hopefully get that rating up. We've got the seatbelt signs on, and it'll probably stay that way now until we get on the ground in San Francisco. So what we'll do one more time, if we're getting close, we'll bring back our ATIS, and we will get another one. So information with Victor, and now it's whiskey. So let's see what's changed. So the wind now seems variable at 6 knots. What variable means is there's no discerning direction. It's coming from sort of all different directions at 6 knots. So what we will do is keep in there at about 250. It was 250 at 4, so now we'll put it as 250 at 6. The temperature is still 18 degrees, and the altimeter's dropped slightly. It was 2995, and now we can see it's 2993. Landing runway is still 28 left. So we don't have to change too much. We'll get rid of the information whiskey, and we'll go in, double check that we're getting close to Bigelow. Whoops, we're still 11 miles away for level 210, so we're getting close. We are in open descent, and it is holding 280 knots. So just to double check the charts, because this is something we have to constantly keep doing as we're descending to make sure that we're reaching all of the restrictions. So at Bigelow, 280 knots, not below 190. Once we pass Bigelow, we're going to go straight to 11,000 feet, and we're going to monitor that we have descended below 16,000 feet by Lawsit, which won't be a problem because this little 20 here means it's 20 nautical miles. Until there's 3,000 feet and 20 miles, will not be a problem. Bodega is 13,000 feet. That's another 3,006 miles, but we'll be well below 16,000 feet. So 6 miles for 3,000, it'll probably be more like 1,000 feet in 6 miles, 1,500 feet in 6 miles. So it's very doable, but we will make sure that we monitor the restriction at Lawsit and Bodega, and at Cork, which we're going to target for 11,000 feet. We have to be at 250 knots. So let's double check what the aircraft is doing right now, because Alt Star has been captured again. Flight level 190 at Bigelow, 3 miles away. So again, I'm very happy with that. We're descending along the arrival route about as perfectly as we can do it. So we said after we pass Bigelow, we're going to set 11,000 feet. So 11,000 feet, we'll pull it, open descent, 11,000 feet blue. And as we cross below 18,000, we get our altimeter 2993. So let's set the... Ooh, that's changed. Well, I'm not sure. I'll have to match... I'll have to match that with this one in a minute. So here's 18,000 feet. So we're going to go ahead and pull the main altimeter. or we're going to push it, sorry, and set it up to 29093. So you can see that's raising the altitude that the airplane thinks we're at, 29093. And if we check it, 1014. There we go. So guys, we need to be at low as it, not above 16,000. And we're already 16,800, so that's going to be okay. We're going to meet that restriction at low as it. And let's just double check the restriction at Bodega. Bodega's 13,000, and we're going to be at 250 Cork. So what we can do is turn the constraint on, and we can actually see some of the constraints here, and they are accurately modeled. So you can see laws at below 16,000, Bodega below 13,000, and Cork 11,000, 250 knots. So it's exactly what the charts are telling us. It's one of the wonders of the experimental version of this aircraft. So I don't need to really calculate any more performance. I know that I've managed to meet the descents required. I know that I'm going to be okay. And so what I can go ahead and do in the performance is I have a few minutes. And I can put in the new approach information, the new ACE information, altimeter 29.93. The temperature still 18, and then it was 2506. Well, it was variable at 6 knots, so we'll leave it as 250. We could put it in at 00 at 06, but that's okay. Give me just one quick second, guys. I'll be right back. Guys, alright, we're back with you. Sorry for that. So let's just keep monitoring our 10 where we're at. So we're at 12,600 feet, and Bodega is below 13,000. So we managed that quite well, and we're going to be quite early at Cork. So what we can do is actually slow our rate of descent just a little bit, because we're ahead of our glide slope. It's not a glide slope, but we're ahead of our descent trajectory. I think that's somebody on the Vatsim network making a call. I can't really hear it. So let's double check there's no ATC online in San Francisco, and there is not. So we're going to have to make an advisory announcement very shortly. So Cork coming up, guys. We're almost at 11,000, and managed mode is taking care of the speed very nicely. So there's 250 magenta. So as you can see now, the aircraft is slowly reducing speed to 250, and I haven't had to do anything at all. That's because all of these speeds have been properly modeled in, and I am on managed mode. Not sure if it's going to meet that in time, so I'm just going to throw out the speed brakes for just a second, just to make sure we're at 250 knots. So we're about a mile and a half away. We're 216 ascending, so that's fine. So we've made the restriction. That would be considered all right. 255, 1 mile away. We're going to retract the speed brakes. We're going to bring them in now and find that we're at 250 knots as we pass Cork. So perfect, 11,000 feet on the money, 250 knots. Can't really get any better than that. And unfortunately, guys, a little bit of clouds have come back into play, quite a bit of clouds, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is turn on the engine anti-ice once more, and we're going to take a look at charts and see where we're at. So here we're at. So after bricks, we're going to descend.
Traffic, UPS 20 takeoff 28 right.
We're going to make an announcement on UCOM, guys. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is get some situational awareness, go to the program page, and find our runway. So KSFO, and then we're looking for 28 left. Oops, wrong one. So there you go, it says 6.2, but really we're about 26 miles out. So we'll let them know. San Francisco traffic, Air Canada 1013, we're on 25 mile final. We're on our downwind. We'll give you a call when we are on final for 28 left. San Francisco traffic, Air Canada 1013. Alright guys, so we're about to pass bricks. We have to still be 11,000. 250 knots, so that's good. And then after that, we're going to go down all the way down to 3,000, just to see if we can cut ourselves in early, and then get down. Not that we need any fuel to save, but at this point, we don't need to extend our sightseeing over the city as we can't see anything. Here's 11,000, maintain at bricks, and now we've switched over to our manual heading. So let's head down to 3,000 feet. And let's take a quick peek at the chart again. Minimum safe around here is 5,100, understood. However, we are on the arrival, so we'll be all right. We can see there, minimum safe run where we're going is actually 3,500, and then now we're past that, so in front of us is 2,000 feet. So we will be okay. And you can see we're going to come around back into open water, so we're still going to be above 3,000 feet, and this is 2,000. As long as we don't go too far into this line here, 3,000 feet, we stay here, that's 1,000, we'll be alright. This is part of the standard terminal arrival. Unfortunately, the terrain button is in op. So guys, we've descended below 10,000 feet. Seatbelt sign has come on, and we've turned on the landing lights. We still have the engine ice on for now, not the wing ice, just the engine ice, as we're still in the clouds a little bit. So as we come down below them, we may turn them on. As you can see, this doesn't necessarily say engine ice not required, so that obviously means that it's detected some ice along the engine line somewhere. We're still at 250 knots, and you can see we're along the manual heading here. But 140. The wind, we have a 19
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing. Thank you.
Oh. Getting ready for landing inside the aircraft. We're up to 91% satisfied again. So guys, Eddie is 6,000. We didn't get down to 3,000 fast enough for me to turn it early. That's okay. But we can start to see now here as we're coming out of the clouds. There is the map to our right. That's the 3,500 feet that we were being warned about on the charts. So you can see that's why we're not flying over there. That would be very, very, very close to the ground. And then over here, we've got a lot of room as we approach over the water. So that's how this is set up. This is why it takes us as close as it can to the mountains. So we are at 6,600. So as soon as we get there, we will cut in to Eddie. So I'll switch it to heading mode. Very shortly, we'll make a right turn here to Eddie, which we can do now, actually, because we're approaching 6,000 feet. So we'll make a left turn, heading 090, 070, and we'll try to grab Eddie. So guys, it's actually turned into quite a nice day here in San Francisco, underneath the clouds, so we can turn off the engine lights. We won't need those. And we're going to turn on the landing system now, guys, and we can see that it's captured 109.55. So here's 070 into Eddie. And we'll make a heading of about 030 here. Continue on our course. We're descending below the glide slope, which is what we want. We're at 5,000. We're going to keep descending 3,000. This one wants us at 4,000, so what we'll do is stop at descent at 4,000. This is actually at SID B, says above 4,000. And we got to keep our right turn, our left turn. So we've missed the edge of the localizer there, so we'll have to come back through it and capture again, which is okay. So left turn 310, capture the localizer for runway 28 left. We'll go 300 just to make sure we get on that localizer. And there we go, we'll activate the localizer mode. And as we can see, the approach mode will be activated very shortly as the magenta diamond is coming down. So we'll just make an announcement as soon as we get established. And what we can do now is slow down to 210.
5509, wind short, runway 01 left.
And we can activate the approach mode in the MCD unit, which we probably should have done earlier. I don't believe it captured the glide slope. Maybe that's because the approach mode's not on. Oh, I understand. So we need to be down to 3,000. Sorry, I forgot that we have a little left turn here at Heman, and the approach is actually coming out there. So let's head back. Sorry, so I forgot to brief us earlier, and I've totally forgotten about it. So we came in at a dogleg approach. I thought we were lining up for approach or 28 left. It's just it's not what we were doing. So if we hold this course here, 330, now we'll intercept the localizer for 28 left. We're descending over 3,000. This is an interesting approach, guys. I've never done it before. I'm obviously doing it a little bit poorly, but we'll make it work. So we're still descending. We're still just below the glide slope. And as soon as that comes down any further, we're going to activate approach mode. We have alt star. And it's starting to come down. So normally what you'd want to do is I would have wanted to be out a little further and captured Heman, but I'm inside a little bit. So I can't establish on the localizer before I establish approach, which is alright. So what this is doing now is establishing. So you can see lock star, and it's got glide slope star as well. So it has managed to capture both of them right there, which is good. So we haven't missed anything. So what we can do now is go flaps 1. We can start to slow the aircraft even more down to 190 knots. We are
traffic United 5509, taking off runway 01 left, departing to the north.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing. Thank you.
Alright guys, so gears down, flaps 1, we'll go flaps 2 shortly. We're just going to make a call on Unicom. San Francisco traffic, Canada 1013 on a 7.5 mile final, runway 28 left. San Francisco traffic, Canada 1013. Alright guys, so we have the runway in sight now to San Francisco. It's looking kind of ugly out there, but we have a lot of vision, so visibility is good. And
Musk aircraft calling, do you need me to line up to let you land first, or do you think you have enough time?
If you're ready to go right now, sir, you can get it going. If you need time to wait, and you can wait, it's up to you. But if you can go now, you can go.
Roger, we're ready to go. So, we're San Francisco traffic, United 5509, taking off runway 01 left.
Have a great flight.
Thank you.
Alright guys, so we're just dealing with the traffic, so that's some of the advantages of Unicom. He heard me coming, and he communicated with me. So we're going to ground the spoilers, we're going to ping the cabin, we're going to turn on the runway lights, we're going to turn on the taxi lights, as you would with landing. Flaps 2, we're getting close, so let's go flaps 3. We're 4 miles out, passing 150 knots, and we'll go flaps full. Alright guys, everything looking good. We didn't need autopilot 2, but we'll put it on for the moment. But we have a 6 knot crosswind, so we'll hand land this into the airport today and hope we don't have any troubles. So guys, you can see the lights blinking on this aircrafter, so that's the aircraft that we're talking about. And that's new lighting that we can see, which is excellent. Excellent work by Asobo on their update. To have that back, that's really helpful, because previous to this, I would have no idea where he was. Basically just talk to him as if I could see him. In fact, I couldn't. So guys, everything's looking good. We are at 600 feet. We're descending 700 feet per minute. ECAM landing, no blue.
San Francisco traffic, United 5509 is clear of runway 01 left and airborne.
San Francisco traffic, Air Canada 1013, 2 mile final, 28 left. 400 guys, so disconnect autopilot. I have control of the aircraft.
300. 200.
Alright guys, 2 white, 2 red on the left, those are the poppies, so it's good.
100.
100. We're going to start to nose up just in a minute. We've maintained the center line. A little bit of left rudder. Nose up. Start the
20.
flare.
Retard.
Idle back to
10.
thrust.
5.
Maintain the center line. There's touchdown. Nose down. Hold the center line. Reverses out. Speed is reducing, 120, and we'll start light on the brakes. 100 knots, 80 knots, and we do want to exit left, guys. Failed to mention that before. Under 80 knots, we're going to bring in the reversals, and we're continuing to slow down. If we can get off right here, 60, 40, there we go. Perfect. Great landing, guys. I'm not sure what the rate was. We'll find out from self-loading cover shortly.
Aircraft has arrived at the gate. You are reminded that all electronic devices should remain turned off until you are in the terminal building. Thank you.
Guys, we're just going to exit the runway here, and we're going to make an announcement on Unicom that we're clear of 28 left. Slow down. 7 knots, that's better. As soon as we cross this line, we'll let them know. San Francisco traffic, Air Canada 1013. We're clear runway 28 left on Tango. We're going to taxi by Tango Kilo to the gate. Thanks so much and have a great day. Alright guys, so that was our approach and landing into San Francisco. And a very short taxi here to the gate. So let's not forget the time to start the APU. And we can turn off the landing lights. Turn off the runway, turn off lights as well. And we can turn off the strobe lights. So the APU. And we can pick a gate. Any gate will do. We'll take number 82 right here. 13 knots, a little sporty. But we'll line up nice with gate. And as soon as we're on the yellow line, turn off the taxi lights because ground crew won't appreciate that very much. Whoops. Hold that line. Guess they haven't fixed that bug. And we'll try and spawn in a few of the cars right now. Get back over to the line. And we'll bring it to a stop. Set the parking brake, guys. pull in the jetway, and we'll ask for the external power. See if the APU's on? It is. So we'll turn on the APU, and we'll go ahead and turn off the engines. Engine 2, engine 1. Go up here and turn off the fuel. Wait for SOB logbook, which still pops up every time. Total flight time, 2 hours, 25 minutes, guys. Excellent landing, excellent flight. Thanks so much. So we're just going to continue. Turn off all the fuel pumps. Turn off the cruise fly air. And
Cabin crew, doors to manual, please.
Let's go over to the engine page and see how the engines are. PSI is down to 0. N2 pressure.
Cabin crew, the aircraft is secure. Please open doors. Thank you.
There you go. So you can turn off the beacon light. Turn on the ground control. Let's make sure that the jetway connected. That's not my aircraft. Where is it? There it is. The jetway has connected, so we can go ahead and also get the baggage and the catering. We're going to pull over self-loading cargo and tell it that it can start deboarding.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit once again, I hope you enjoyed your flight with us today. On behalf of myself, the first officer, and the cabin crew, we wish you a safe and pleasant journey from the airport and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for flying with us.
So guys, I just realized we had a landing rate of 118 feet per minute, 1.03 G. So that was perfect, well done. That was all by hand. There was no auto land involved there today. That was probably one of the best landings I've had in a long time by hand. Definitely the best landing I've had on this stream by hand. That matched probably the auto land, if not better, that we had last time. So that makes me very happy. That makes this whole thing worth it. 118 feet per minute at 1G. Definitely why our percentage was boosted. So that's quite exciting for me. I'm very happy about that. Noah, I hope you saw that landing. That was one of the best you're gonna see. Just pat myself on the back. So anyway, the passengers are deboarding. We have the engine shut off. We have the flaps in. Let's go through the after landing flows. We're going to turn off predictive wind shear, reset the rudder. We can open the cockpit and turn off mode Charlie. Turn off ECAS. There's some lights that we could shut off here, but well, we can do it, I guess. I'll just set up this aircraft to sit here for a while until we come back to it. Maybe on the next stream we will depart out of San Francisco, just to maybe keep our stream moving along. All lights are off, the seatbelt signs are off. We can go ahead and turn off the mobile phones. Normally I do that on taxis, people can take pictures, so I apologize to them this time. We can disarm the emergency lights. I'm not going to flag in today, guys, so we're going to turn off the IRs, IR1, IR2, and IR3. And we'll throw it over to the external power as well. We'll just leave a little bit of power in this aircraft as we do our final goodbye. So everybody, we've had a great flight today. I want to thank you all so much for coming. We've still got self-loading cargo, which is deboarding. So we have 29 left. So as soon as that is done, it's going to give us a little flight report. I don't know how fast that's going. I might be able to accelerate that. Instant deboard, and we can view the flight report. So there we go. So I got a pilot grade of B today. I think that was due to a little bit of turbulence. It doesn't really take that into account. That the autopilot and the Mother Nature got a pilot grade of B. But when it came to what I was doing, the landing rate was 118 feet per minute, and it says perfect. Well done. Overall, it was a good flight. I communicated effectively with the cabin crew. My landing was excellent. Not only did I ensure their comfort, but the positive touchdown ensured the aircraft could be controlled safely during rollout, which it absolutely was. Overall, my passengers weren't any worse off than when they boarded, so good job on not upsetting them. So that's excellent. Scheduled departure, 18:52. I was a little bit early off the blocks, and scheduled arrival 21:29, and I was on blocks 21:30. So I just was behind. They don't call that late; they call that right on time. The result was still on time. Excellent work. I managed my time well. So my airmanship, see, G-force maximum. So It says I pulled up too hard and the passengers experienced very uncomfortable G-force, but I did pull up. That was the turbulence as we went over the mountains there. So I got an up and a down. And then I usually get this. My airspeed was slightly above 250 knots while the aircraft was below 10,000 feet. That's because, again, with the winds, as you're cruising along at 250, you fluctuate up and down by a few knots, and that's normal and that's expected. But they give you a hard time for that here. So those contributed to the B, not the A+ that I'm used to. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming along to the flight. Again, Chuck Norris, Curtis, I really appreciate you showing up. Noah, I hope you enjoy your alcoholic beverage. Thank you for coming along as always. You're one of the best guys to see in the stream. I hope to see you again next time. Thanks so much. Jake, Proptrake, Phil, anyone else who came along, I really appreciate the likes. Thank you. We have 5 likes. That's wonderful. And for everyone else who is watching the stream afterwards, I do appreciate you taking your time to watch the stream. I hope you had fun with me today, and sorry there wasn't a little bit more ATC. So anyway, guys, we're going to do our usual view of San Francisco as we leave, and I do bid everybody a great day. Thanks for coming, and I hope you come along again soon next time. I hope to see you soon. Take care, stay safe, and have a great day. Thanks for coming with Radar Vectors with Lucas Meaden.